And we are live. And as my co-host both bailed on me in the same week, one of them stuck in airports trying to travel down to Houston. The other one also somewhere roaming around, I think, in the state of Texas as well, or probably leaving today. I managed to get a couple of guests that we had previously had on the show, and we're going to have a little mind meld about the Lightfall hype. Honestly, I'm pretty pumped because we've got the Master of Destiny impressions and the, of course, content creator with probably the reddest of hair. And also, I don't know how your tattoos compare to content creators, but I just saw like the spread you had on your arm, so you got a few.
I got like 8, I think. I lose count. I think it's 8 or 9.
Like, I have 0, so you are far ahead of me.
I got 1.
But to go around the horn, first one we've got for our guest tonight is Teej. Usually these things are called you as opposed to Big Daddy.
That's right. Well, you know, I guess it depends on the specific person.
That's true. There may be at least one person in your life who calls you Big Daddy, but you know. Yeah. How you doing, man?
It's nice. I'm well. Thanks. Yeah, it's good to be back on the show, and it's good to be here at such a hype train, full speed ahead kind of moment because we got a lot to look forward to here in 5 days.
The marketing team, the trailer team doesn't miss. So we are literally post epic trailer launch. So of course we are riding the hype train, which is running full speed. Of course, we're 5 days away. Happy to have you back. If you guys have not checked out Teej's Twitter, please do. BDTeej. There's a wonderful about 2.25 minutes Destiny NPC impression. He's amazing at these things. And you need to go listen to it because the ending is epic. So please go watch that one. Please go follow his Twitter.
Thank you so much.
Joe, how you doing, man?
I am doing super well. I'm coming off of 6.5 hours of Wendigo farming, so I'm a little tired. But aside from that, hey, I got the God roll. I got the 5 out of 5 crispy. I'm a little tired, but I'm ready for the podcast.
Well, it sounds like the farming was worth it. I know some people probably won't be as lucky. I need to spend a little time doing that. That's apparently the cool thing to do this week.
I've certainly not been as lucky.
Oh, how much time have you put in? I can hear some.
Only about 8 hours yesterday, so it wasn't or Tuesday rather. It wasn't so much, but I got 4 rolls that are worth keeping and a bunch that were not. But no 5 out of 5 so far.
Getting there. Nice. What is, for those who are wondering, listening to this before things go off, what is the role you guys are looking for? And I'm curious if it's the same one. Either of you? What's your 5 out of 5?
Joe's got the 5 out of 5.
Joe,
I don't even
5.
have one yet.
All right. So I mean, technically, I got like a 6 out of 6. Because
small,
the other perk
brag
that I got on, it's just a humble small. I mean, 7 out of 7 if you want to count the adept tag. But okay, so let's get really quick. Okay, so
this guy doesn't miss, literally.
Listen. All right, so we got we got the bad boy quick launch on there. Gives us some velocity, some handling. Got spike grenades, so we get that extra damage. And then coming up, we have auto loading holster or clown cartridge, so we can swap between both of those. Very huge. And then we got explosive light for that 65 to 84% increase explosive damage. Pretty big. Got the adept tag on there, velocity masterwork. That's what I'm saying. It's insane.
That's pretty good. Now, I will say on the counter, it sounds like some people are kind of jamming on the Cascade point. I was wondering if you were looking. Teej, where you at? Where you at?
It's mid, bro. I'm telling you.
I've had several Cascade point drops and explosive light drops. I've kept one of each. The roll, I'll tell you this much. Maybe not my 5 out of 5, but I have something I'm very excited about. Is I landed a it's not spike. Is it explosive ordnance? Is that what it's called? The one that lowers your mag, but absolutely maxes out your blast radius. I can't. It's
I don't know if there's one that messes with your mag. Maybe though. Explosive ordnance sounds like a thing.
Yeah, I think that's what it's called. And so it's I got quick launch explosive ordnance. We'll call it. I think that's what it is. Clown cartridge and Cascade point. So to me, the fact that the explosive ordnance docks the mag is kind of overwritten by clown cartridge. And so then I got Cascade Point for rapid fire with hopefully a big mag on the highest blast radius.
Oh, it's got a huge mag, all right. Sorry, that was too easy.
Wow. I think honestly, the biggest thing I see as a drawback to Cascade Point, and I was messing around with it yesterday in just Vanguard strikes, just regular old strikes, is that the window that you have to actually swap to it and use those rounds is itty bitty little one. I'd almost rather see it work a bit like Harmony, where you have like a much longer time to swap, and then the timer starts on the swap, not not on at the kill, because it's like, you have to factor in that 5 seconds or whatever animation time to swap weapons is included in that, which is like I think honestly I'm kind of with Joe on this one, that it's pretty mid in its current form.
So auto loading / possible clown, but auto loading, explosive light, spike grenades. That's the main trio that you're looking for. If you can find that, you probably can, get some sleep. You probably can be done if you're not too crazy about it. Not everybody has Joe's luck. So,
the 7 out of 7 luck, it's got to reiterate.
That's not even a thing. 7 out of 7 is not even a thing.
It is now. It is now adept plus second perk. It is now 7 out of 7.
We're just making stuff up on the podcast. It's what we do here at the Last Word Campfire. When we have no hosts, I have to be the crazy one. Somebody has to make up for Travis not being here. So that's why I'm going to have the weird comments tonight. So I've got 2 normal people, and the host gets to go a little crazy. We're just going to go in hype order. That trailer that just dropped during the Sony State of Play. Thoughts, gentlemen?
I'll let Teej go first.
I really dig it. I mean, they have yet to release a trailer where I've been like, meh. Like, every time I feel like they drop a trailer, I get a little bit more hype going kind of every time. And I think the big stuff for me on this one is that obviously we got a lot of clips from what I'm sure will be an introductory pre-rendered cutscene at the start of the campaign. And and I think that's if anything, that kind of stuff gets me psyched up anyway. But one shot I'll call it in particular that I was like, there was a ghost in that shot that got diced up like a ribbon. And and I was like, did the witness just do that with his mind? Because that sucks. Like, I don't want that to happen to my ghost. But I think what we really saw there was clearly kind of like in the season end trailer, generic Titan #1 had his ghost
red shirt Titan.
Red shirt Titan had his ghost ribboned up. So
yeah, that definitely reminded me of the Thanos Drax kind of, as you said, ribbon kind of split up looking thing. But you're just staring at the ghost, and all of a sudden it separates. I'm like, oh gosh.
Yeah, that's uncomfortable.
Yeah, that was so that's one piece. Joe, did any moment stand out for you on the trailer? What's one big shot? What's the shot that's like in your mind right now that's kind of seared there for the next 5 days?
It would be like blasphemy if I didn't mention the Death Star shot. I think everyone agrees the Death Star shot kind of went a little crazy.
It's pretty tight, dude.
Where was that seemingly dangerous beam during the Red War, and why is he just now using it? Like, homie got absolutely hornswoggled in the Red War, knowing he could have shot that shit earlier. Like, that's all I'm saying.
Swoggle.
Hornswoggled.
That's right.
The new word. Well, actually, it's not a new word.
It's from Friends is what I know it from. Actually, that's Chandler's like horn swoggle.
Swoggle. Have you guys seen the concept art from like 2014 or 2013? Like that moment, just how we had in Season of the Seraph, where like the Traveler rose up and it like recreated the Destiny 1 poster.
Yeah, I have that display coming already.
The Death Star Traveler is a recreation of old concept art for what the Traveler was originally supposed to look like. I don't know if you guys have seen that or not.
I don't know if I've seen that.
I'll see if I can just slap it in the Discord.
If you can find that. Yeah, that moment, I was just watching it because I was in between like prepping for this, and my wife's going on a little trip tomorrow, and I was recording a video and hit publish, and then I was watching it, and that was one of those moments where I even just cursed out loud. I was like, oh, because I mean, the Traveler's just the ball sitting there floating, not doing much, hanging out, and then all of a sudden, as you said, Death Star, like the ultimate Death Star. And that just kind of blew me away. And I'm going, okay, it's fighting back for the first time in, how long has it been? 8.5, 9 years? Cool. It took a minute.
It did something other than move.
Yeah.
It
took a long time to charge up.
In fact, I don't know if we've ever seen it move. Like, we've had stories of it moving. And like maybe an animatic or two, but I don't know if we've ever in the game seen it move.
No, but it also makes me wonder about like the surface of the Traveler, because it seemed to be like there and then not as it fired, but it looked like it kind of closed itself
like,
up.
it's like it opened up.
Yeah.
So that was cool. I would say mine is pretty much anything with the Witness. I'm loving this guy for whatever reason. I love the character. The way they do the like 17 voices at the same time, all kind of overwritten and one's a little delayed that you hear. And just the way it's talking. But when it's just like floating through space, like it's just kind of approaching the Traveler, it looks like it's just going to reach out and touch the Traveler. And then, because it's standing right next to it, it looks like at one point. And then the fact that it gets surrounded by the pyramid ships, like Segura's shell, some people are saying that it kind of looks like that when it's surrounded by the pyramid ships.
That shot was pretty reminiscent of Segura, that's true.
So, and then for whatever reason, all the planets are like in alignment. So we've got Thor's 9 realms lined up and everything in here.
Dude, I just watched the movie too. I get the reference.
What, Dark World?
Holy shit. Yeah, I just watched Dark World. I get the reference.
Yeah.
I feel in tune.
If this is the opening cinematic, this one is going to slap because like that's insane. I don't know if this is going to piece all the trailers and stuff together. And we were talking last week. I wanted to get your guys' take on where do you feel Calus falls as one, a villain, and two, how much he's involved in this story.
For me, I think the last time we were on here, I don't remember if I talked about the Lightfall campaign. I can't remember, or like what I thought it was going to be. But like before that trailer, I probably would have told you that I thought the campaign for Lightfall, plot wise, wasn't going to be as cool as Witch Queen because of like, you know, Savathun and all her build up. But after seeing that story trailer, previously I thought it was mainly just going to be about Calus and Neomuna and stuff like that. But like the trailer showed me that there's a lot more shit going on than what's going on with Calus on Neomuna. Like there is some implications of there's some big stuff going down in the universe as a whole, not only on Neomuna. So I don't know if they're trying to play all their cards with the Witness and trying to put him like on full blast here before a final shape, or if it's like a 50-50 thing. But all I know is we are getting way more Witness than I thought we were, which probably means we're getting a little bit less Calus than I originally thought as well. I'm not as interested in Calus as a character as I was with Savathun. I hope that they can make me care a lot about him, but I mean, I'm not sure. I thought it was just going to be like this own kind of story in a bubble on Neomuna. And, you know, maybe there's going to be a little bit of stuff with the Witness, but then you see stuff like the Traveler fighting back, and you see, you know, the Witness like floating through space around all this wreckage and stuff. Like, I don't know, but it looks cool. So I'm excited.
What about you? Where are you at on where are you at on just Calus? I mean, I want to hear that impression, by the way. Have you tried? I don't know if you've actually tried.
From strength.
I have tried. I think the biggest problem with Calus is that obviously you can get the tone and inflection right, but at the end of the day, in order for his voice to work, you have to have a pitch adjustment. Like
I was gonna say, you have to either be like a true like crazy low bass person or something. His grovelly bass is something different.
Deep.
Yeah. But where are you at on him as a character?
Well, I have to say, I thought I actually when I forget the trailer that it came out. It was one of the earlier ones at the beginning of this year, where Calus narrates. You guys know what trailer I'm talking about, and he kind of narrates. Okay, anyway, that trailer. There's a line in there where he says, "Oh, my tenacious little guardians," and he's talking to us as though he's known us for so long.
Yeah.
When I first saw the trailer, I thought that he said "my delicious little guardians," and I was like more excited if he was said that. And then then I was watching it live, and chat was like, "Hey, can you turn on the subtitles for the rewatch?" Just to give, I was like, "Yeah, sure." But and it said "tenacious," and I was like, "That's a lie. It's delicious, and you can't change my mind." No, but I've always really kind of liked the idea of Calus, even before he's kind of purely evil now, which is a bummer. But I think when he was more of an ambiguous entity kind of back in year one kind of days where it's like, well, I guess there's anything wrong yet. He just kind of wants us to come and play in his gold colored Olympics and you know, and do what we got to do and get the bad guys off his ship. And you know, maybe, you know, maybe he's not so bad, you know, who knows? And now, you know, obviously he's gone full bat. And, you know, it's like, I'm kind of excited to see what we'll call it submissive Callus looks like, because Callus has always presented himself as the pinnacle. And now what he's done is he's resigned himself to the, you know, rule of another. And, you know, what does that look like for someone who, you know, saw themselves as the pinnacle to submit? And I'm very curious as to how that's going to, I'm kind of hoping for a power struggle, to be honest. I'm kind of hoping that Callus is scheming somehow to kind of like play the game until he has his own moment to kind of seize things, because you think this is a guy who literally
that definitely sounds like something he would try.
Well, that's what I mean. This is a guy who literally he took the crown of sorrow from Savathun to say, I would like to you know, I need a hive army. I want to be able to control the hive. And like, who's got the balls to go up to a hive god and be like, listen, I'm gonna need a little bit of that, you know? And like, and then Savathun be like, yeah, okay. You know, and then of course, you know, her plan was to get him under her thrall with the crown, but then, you know, and Galron and all these different things. But it's like, that's crazy. Like, this guy's got a huge set, and we might actually see him. He's wearing a loincloth this season. You never know.
Well, yeah, you never quite know what's going to be visible and not. Everybody seems to be very scantily clad. Some people are more like vacuum sealed than others, especially if we're talking about the Cloud Striders. You can kind of count the hairs depending on how much detail you get looking in there. No, like Callus as a character has been interesting too, because Gaul, like, we got his story. He was the underdog that came up, you know, fought back. And actually, I enjoyed the Red War campaign. I kind of thought it was like pretty decent. Not Witch Queen level. That still blew the doors off of everything. But like Red War was decent. And then, but we never got to know much about Callus, and he's just this like animatronic robot and stuff like that. And then we get to see him in the Lazarus Pit, chatting with the Witness, kind of trying to have his his glow up party. And man, did he go crazy with the armor. He's making Titans jealous with his shoulder pads, because this is the first time I've seen anybody wider than male Titan in this game, because it is nuts. These things are, you have cities on his shoulders. They're so big. But I like,
can we talk about the bucket?
Oh, okay. I will say the picture on Lightfall's website, just the expansion at the very, very, very bottom.
Right.
Whenever I see that, I don't know the bottom, because you see his mouth behind the triangle.
Right.
But the bottom looks like this golden lipstick looking thing on the bottom lip.
Sure.
And then the top is that. But yeah, the bucket top, I don't know. It looks, what does that remind you of besides like Conehead chopped off?
That, but like the reason I okay, this is something that people who've been paying attention to my social media for a while know that I have a bit of an issue with. But when we look at the Val raid gear, and we all been through the Val raid gear, hopefully enough to know what it looks like. But the Titans and the Warlocks got this really amazing full set of really darkness inspired looks. And the Hunter sort of did too, until you get to the helmet. And it's got a little boy clown face on the front. And we don't really know why it has that and why it's not the intent. And so this whole, I've really latched onto this thing that like, how is it that no one at Bungie saw a tiny little boy clown face and released this as my darkness inspired, you know, Rogue Val the Disciple, very intimidating raid set. The bucket, like, I'm kind of getting the same vibe. I'm like, how is it intentional? Are we supposed to be laughing about his bucket head?
His
like
head does not look right. I'm with you. The head bucket does not add to his, like, everything about everything about him is like grandiose and menacing.
Yeah.
Menacing is kind of debatable. It's Callus. He's always just kind of a big joker anyway. But like the whole thing, and then the weird little just put a Home Depot bucket on your head. Like I don't get it.
Like there's just a few things where I see this stuff and I'm like, you know, I wonder, like, is there nobody being like, you know, Bill, this is good, but maybe like less bucket, you know, maybe like, you know, less tiny little boy clown face. I don't know. Maybe the checks and balances aren't quite lining up there.
I'm curious though with regards to the Callus and Witness, because this definitely feels like this feels like the penultimate, even though this was supposed to be Witch Queen was supposed to be the penultimate theory, and then this got made. So
Right.
I'm curious how much you guys think. Like Witch Queen, really good. Like I mean, Travis normally on the show he gave it an 8, first IGN 8 for a Destiny thing. Where do you guys think this? Do you think the Lightfall campaign is as good as Witch Queen's campaign?
I think that from a gameplay standpoint, I feel like it's guaranteed to be better. Because Witch Queen was like the first time that they it feels like the first time they actually put, like, no disrespect, but the first time that they put effort into a campaign, like, because they knew that we would have replayability via the campaign missions, they built into the replayability via like being able to get alloys and stuff by replaying them. So they put some extra effort into it. The bosses had like unique mechanics or unique things that you had to do. There was unique encounters, and it was a lot less of just kind of like, oh, Guardian, go to Earth into this last sector, and there's a thing in this chest that we need to defeat the baddie. It's like, no, these are like handcrafted missions that are very well thought out. And it was really nice. And this is the first time since like the original Halo games that I'm like, this is really good. Because like you said, the Red War campaign was good, but it never challenged me from a gameplay standpoint. It was always just kind of like, okay, I'm an invincible baddie. I can just walk through this stuff. Yeah, the missions are cool, but who cares? I can one-shot all the enemies. But this was the first time that we had a really good plot. The mechanics and the gameplay was good, and it actually challenged me. I needed to use my brain. So if not from a plot standpoint, I think 100% from a gameplay standpoint, Lightfall will easily top the Witch Queen. I think Bungie has got the experience that they need. They probably have a lot of the same people that made the Witch Queen campaign working on this one.
Hops is still on
I think it's going to be better 100%, and I will not expect less.
All right, that's a bar. Teej? He's got the game. Apparently, we have the gameplay covered.
Yeah,
gameplay's covered. I can't talk about the plot too much because I'm not a lore nerd, but gameplay, Witch Queen was good. I think Lightfall will be better.
I think I think by the nature of adding a new subclass, I think you definitely have refreshed gameplay for that, at the very least. You know, I think in Witch Queen, from that standpoint, they certainly had Void 3.0 to lean on from that perspective. You know, new build crafting system, et cetera, et cetera. And of course the lore side of it. I will say that as kind of like what you pointed out, Ebontis, this being a created expansion as a result of them needing to kind of I don't know for sure. Obviously, we can't know for
work
sure.
Work more on final shape.
Well, I don't even know if it's work more on final shape. I think it's that you had the narrative team has, you know, the Witch Queen. They had final shape. And then it was like they're looking at their timeline going, okay, and like, how do we get there? And it was like, whoa, shoot. Yeah. Hold on. Yes, we need to get there. And so I do wonder if from a plot standpoint, if this, you know, if the idea of, you know, Neptune and Cloudstriders and Neomuna and Callus as a disciple and these things is kind of meant to be a driving force for what will be in the foreground as the Witness challenges the Traveler in our midst, right at Earth. You know, I think that like you can tell that story, but ultimately without the Guardians participating in some way, that's kind of just could be a cutscene. You know, like and I think that there's something that we, you know, maybe Lightfall answers the question of how do we influence the outcome of that battle.
That's fair. That's probably the best way I've heard it phrased as an idea of how can we influence something on as grand of a scale as the Traveler and Witness. And these, like the Witness would look at us and go thump, like just kicking us off a chessboard. Like we're not at that level. We are not. I mean, the Traveler could beam us and we're gone. Like we now know the powers of both of these two are pretty ridiculously off the charts versus us. We're going to go searching for the Veil, which I did love the fact that in the finale, like, oh, what's this thing? Is the Veil this new, like, you know, enemy race or whatever from concept art? Speaking of 6-year-old concept art or whatever, what was it from the D1? They mentioned the Veil and this possible wispy subclass. And all of a sudden they're like, we're going to go look for the Veil. I'm like, we're going to look for the what?
Yeah, just a little casual mention after, you know, just in dialogue.
That ending mission had so much going on, but then the word Veil pops in. I'm going, hold on, back it up. So that's, I feel like kind of a perfect thing of what you said. Is that our piece of this puzzle? Is this us trying to find that thing to where we can actually contribute? Because right now, especially in the trailer, it's like, oh, pyramid ship. Just like Beam of Death kind of wiping out ships and everything. So
I'll tell you what I'm ready for, and we might get this, we might not, but I'm kind of ready for a little bit more info. And you say the word veil made me think of this. This is not the same thing, but there are plenty of veiled statues in the lore, starting with Shadowkeep, and I would love to see a greater attention drawn to their purpose, because they're very specifically placed in very interesting places, and they have to be more important beyond the witness being an art connoisseur. I think that's I gotta imagine they got something more
this
going
one
on
statue, I need like 50 of them, just one in every one of my ships. That's it. That's all I need.
Yeah, right.
I need a bunch of replica prints. Just put them in the 3D printer, send them out.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's not even on the stairs with a Black Garden too.
No, I know. Yeah.
At the end of Garden of Salvation. So
that feels like it's kind of down in a pyramid ship ish, but
in the Deep Stone Crypt.
Oh, dude, I remember seeing that for the first time on day one. I was flipping out. I'm like, a huge room, and they're like excavating, I don't know, this around the statue, dude. Oh, I remember that. Like that moment, and going to space was
space was great.
And get this, are you ready? This is I only discovered this like a month ago, so this really blew my mind. On Europa, when you do Deep Stone Crypt, it's very easy to see that there is melted ice that has frozen in a bubble shape around the statue that's in there. You can see it's part of the scenery, and you're like, okay, there's some sort of force that has kept the ice from covering the statue. It's protected by some invisible shield.
Yeah.
What I'd never seen before is the end of Garden. When you get down to the bottom, the same thing is true, but it's branches. And they've tried to grow inward from the outside, and they can't, and it forms a branch-shaped dome around the statue. So there's the
strand. Because they describe strand as like this kind of matter that like we can't see or something like that, right? Or
like the invisible threads of the universe.
Yeah, that we haven't yet been able to notice. So it's like, and it's a darkness subclass. So if it's associated with the statues,
is it a darkness subclass?
I don't know. Actually, I was actually about to ask you that.
I mean, of course, that's how it's described. 100% it's a darkness subclass.
Is it a darkness? But like we're gonna be like the first ones to interact with it. I'm like, is the witness not in touch with the strands? Like, is he not?
If you go to the Lightfall page on Bungie.net, it says, "Weave the future, reach into the darkness, and pluck at the threads of consciousness." Strand.
Yeah.
It is a darkness subclass, 100%. It is evil.
Well, I was like, taking it back to the statues for a second. They are pyramid ship related. You have the garden with the like replica, whatever. What's the word I'm looking for? Doppelganger that basically spoke to us.
Oh, right.
And that's kind of like darkness and pyramid, salvation, all that. So like, there's a tie there to that one. The pyramid on the moon. Then you had, messing with a little bit of stasis and darkness. I'm honest. So when we get through with this campaign, we still have to go through season 21, season the Deep, which I'm so curious if that brings Savathûn back into the picture, because that's where it's like, couldn't have a better name for it. Come on.
I don't know, bro. I'm thinking about the sea monster on Titan. That is all I'm thinking about. Just you know how like Haunted brought back the Leviathan?
Yeah.
Well, what if Season of the Deep is like the season of Haunted, where instead of bringing the Leviathan, they bring back Titan temporarily? Because they're getting rid of the Leviathan when Lightfall drops, but we're keeping Duality as a dungeon. What if, tinfoil hat, we get a dungeon where we fight a sea monster on Titan? Boom.
Wow.
We got a Gambit. Wait.
From the inside to the outside.
On Titan?
Yeah, there's a Gambit map on Titan.
Yeah, so we have a Gambit map on Titan and a Crucible map on Titan. The assets are there. So I'm just saying, I want to fight a sea monster. That would be peak. That dungeon would go crazy. Anyways, tinfoil hat. I'm sorry.
They got out there. It would be interesting.
Just listen, when it happens, I want you to repost this on Twitter and say DemonJoe was right.
If you are right that we fight a sea monster,
do you know what I'm talking about?
I do. 100% know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah, the thing that was like through the glass and it's like swimming. Yeah, dude, we never got to do anything with that. I want to kill it.
Yeah. Some artists had fun. I don't think we're going to, but this will be you get this one. If this happens, this
you heard it here first, everybody. I'm saying.
All I remember about that whole creature was the somebody that broke through the water on the map, like found the spot to see that it was 3 rings that oscillated up and down.
Oh, I know what you're talking about. The one, yeah,
The
off in the
immersion.
distance. Yeah. Immersion breaking.
Look, there's spines coming up and out of the water. And then somebody was like,
It's just a little wonderful programming joke there. But no, like Season of Defiance. Gonna have some kind of battleground. Probably gonna be fighting Cabal. Battleground seems to be a thing. Season of the Deep. When you go back into the lore of the Hive, before they were even
Right.
the Hive,
right.
that is like the Deep is where all of this stuff comes from. So if it's Season of the Deep and we're talking about the worm gods and everything, I'm like, Imaru is still floating out there somewhere. For whatever reason, not res Savathun up. So theory, we've got that. Then you got 2 more seasons to get us to final shape.
Okay. Here's this question about resing then.
Okay.
Because we say for some reason that he's not, but don't the remains have to be there, or the essence, or whatever? Because
I am not an expert enough to be able to tell
I'm
you
not
yes or
either.
no.
but like I'm just imagining, like if we really took that body and hopefully chopped it up into tiny pieces and distributed it throughout the entire world, like he would have to then kind of find her in order to do that.
But well, like when we come in, we basically transmat. We just basically with like, here's my dancing or pyramid or smoke effect. I get my little smoke bomb and boom, I'm here. So when we transmat in and we get recreated.
From death?
I mean, is there much of a difference?
Well, okay, so transmat, Devrim can transmat. Anything can be transmatted. It's just that we can do it at will from our ghosts. But like death, the ghost is still at your body's spot until somebody reses you or you get resed at the spot that you died.
I mean,
so what you're saying is like if Savathun's going to come back, we'll probably see like a Maru floating around with like an arm, and then he's going to put it in a pile, and then he's going to go find a leg.
I don't think that
He's
at all.
just going to be dragging the pieces back.
He's going to Frankenstein it together. He's going to bring her back.
I do think that he'd have to find where we're storing her body. Like I think he'd have to infiltrate the last city and find out where we're keeping her and then bring her back that way.
Well, that's my hunch, is that we get somewhere. But what I was trying to lead to is we get 22, 23, final shape is 24. Whatever happens there, I feel like you're going to have Witch Queen. Even if Lightfall doesn't hit Witch Queen for story, I feel like it's still probably even like, say Lightfall was an 8 just by, or a 9, whatever you want to call it. If it's one number down for Lightfall, for whatever reason, people rank it just not quite as good because it's Savathun, whatever. I feel like final shape's going to go 9 or 10. I feel like final shape is what they're building to. Now, we have no idea how that's all going to go. But my question to both of you is, what the hell are we going to do in season 25? Big giant finale, final shape, pyramids, witness traveler, all of this fun stuff. All right, that's done. Now we're going to go and rescue people in a cave, or we're going to what do we do in season 25? Because they say the whole world goes on. I'm actually curious because I haven't had a chance to ask both of you guys since I've been running this through my head for a little while. What do you think we do in season 25, 26, 27? They're going to sell final shape as a deluxe edition. There's going to be some dungeons. What are we going to do?
All right, well, I'm going to let Tease take this over while I think about some random bullshit, and then I will give a really good answer.
Okay. I have to imagine that the witness is not the end.
Okay.
I don't think that Lightfall and Final Shape lead to conquering the witness. Because you think about the idea of a witness and disciples is very rooted in, ancient religion. And you'd have to be witnessing on behalf of someone or something or some entity or belief or something in order to have disciples that would follow. What's he preaching? That seems to be what's it preach? It seems to be that's the thing that the Guardians have to conquer. If that really is the root of which he's motivating all of the decisions being made, to take over the Traveler.
So do you think it just after the final shape we get a cutscene of something grander? If you have the Traveler and the Witness, you have the Gardener and the Winnower. Do you think?
Yeah, I gotta imagine there's something about. Okay, this is a little bit of an offshoot nerd thing, but I'm a huge fan of the Clone Wars, the show.
My goat. Okay.
All right.
I love the Clone Wars so much.
There's this beautiful arc in the Clone Wars show, And I won't get too deep in it for those that still want to watch. But it basically
I'm like at
takes,
season 3, so I'm working my way through.
There's a moment where Anakin and Obi-Wan kind of venture to learn a little bit more about the origins of the light and dark side, and in doing so, kind of come across entities that are representative of both. And there's something that they kind of learn that above that there is something else, and there is an origin point of light and dark. And so I wonder is there an opportunity for Destiny in Final Shape? Is the Final Shape the origin of light and dark, not or in simpler, maybe less serious terms, we have Heat Miser and Snow Miser. Who's Mother Nature in this situation? You know what I mean? Like, who's going to get the squabbling brothers to stop? And is there a role the Guardians have to play in that?
Okay. That's a fair guess. I mean, that's kind of, I feel like, a natural progression of, depending on what happens to the tower. We've got the floating helm now, the solar system. We're running out of how many planets we're going to be able to use. Do you think we ever leave Sol? Do you think we ever leave our solar system and we're on, like the sun is Alpha Centauri or something? Do you think we ever actually venture completely outside of our known universe to go like Destiny, whatever name you want to put on a box, or not even a different name since they say 2, like whatever happens next, do you think it ever leaves our solar system ever?
I hope so. I'd say that's possible. Yeah. I mean,
okay.
I think, let's say, going back to the original question, let's say the Witness gets bested in the Final Shape. I mean, like, I don't know if in Destiny canon we've ever really adventured out of our, solar system. So it's kind of hard to imagine that, the Witness could be the sole big bad. Maybe he's not. Maybe there's something above the Witness. Maybe, it's just in a different galaxy or whatever. I mean, it's a space game, bro. The more space, the better. Give me more space. I want to see some more space. Weird. I want to see some weird shit that I've never seen before. Like that's, just more of the only in Destiny kind of stuff. And I feel like you could really do some crazy shit if you go to a completely different system and all that kind of. I mean, the possibilities are endless with sci-fi. Yeah. That's why sci-fi is so awesome. And I don't know. I mean, is the Witness going to die in Final Shape? Maybe. If it's the conclusion of Light and Dark and the whole saga, maybe it has to end with the Witness. But I don't know. I think, just like T said, hopefully we do. I think it would be boring if we just stuck around our solar system the whole time. Yeah. Like there are endless possibilities outside the solar system.
I mean, at this point, where haven't we been?
Pluto.
Yeah, Pluto. That's exactly what I was going to say. Pluto,
Jupiter,
Uranus.
Yeah.
We've been to Jupiter in canon, right? The Jovian Guards or Jovian Guards or something.
And as an Io, one of Jupiter's moons.
Io is one of Jupiter's moons. So, you've got,
but being in game, being able to explore Jupiter would be sick.
There's countless moons. Like everybody thought Europa was going to be Enceladus, or if I'm saying that right, that's the other like snowy moon or whatever that's kind of in that realm. So I mean, they could do that type of stuff. But I'm with you guys. I would love to see them just. All right, you guys know this stuff. Try a whole bunch of stuff you've never heard of ever, and let's just make it up. I think that would be probably the fun way to go.
Yeah, I mean, like I'm not like the biggest lore nerd, so just as long as there's like cool things to shoot at.
I think after Final Shape,
stuff that looks wicked.
I think after Final Shape, we need a new enemy race.
Joe's a tough customer. Yeah. Really wants I need the full experience here.
I need heads to shoot. It's fine.
Yeah, if it's a wicked looking alien, I don't know, like maybe a sea monster on Titan, then like I'm totally down.
You seem to have a fixation on the sea monsters.
Ever since Titan is like had the most potential as a location, bro, and I'm so mad they didn't expand on it. It made me think of Camino from Star Wars, bro. They could do so much stuff.
Yeah, that's true.
They could do so much stuff.
Prescott actually had a good thing. The 9. We still know very, very, very little about the 9. So in theory, there's more, far. I don't even know if they're on our plane of existence or so far beyond it. The 9 would be a very interesting one to think go out there. Well, as for one random trailer topic, I think I took us off on enough of a tangent. But that is what this show is. That's what this show is.
Tiny tangent, yeah.
Tiny tangent.
Little small one.
With regards to features for Lightfall, before I get into our challenge back to Destiny article discussion, What are you guys just looking forward to? Like, we have had more of an info dump, I think, for Lightfall than we possibly have ever had for features. Because, like, hey, you're getting Void. It's like, we're getting loadouts, we're getting commendations, we're getting Guardian ranks, you're getting Strand. Like, this has got to be one of the biggest feature-filled expansions I can think of in a while. So where are you guys at? What are you looking forward to dabbling with the most? What do you think is going to be fun? What are you worried about? Just
All right,
feature.
Captain Gameplay, you take this one.
All right, I'll take
Captain
this one. I got a
Gameplay.
good one in regards to gameplay. So
Captain.
I'm very excited to check out the loadout system. All right.
Okay.
Like, obviously, I think most of us are really excited. One thing I'm not excited for, though, is that they said with the loadout system that we will be able to take things from our vault, but we will not be able to put things back in our vault. Like, once we take something from our vault with the loadout system, it stays there. So you either...
Wait, what?
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
if you
you
pull
can't
loadouts,
put it
it's just
back.
gonna your backpack's
So
just gonna get full.
Why can I take stuff out my vault, but I can't put... What's the point? And then why? You're just going to... Like, I only have, like, 9 slots.
Yep.
The inventory system is, like, as ancient as ever. And so, like, we already have problems with inventory management. So part of me is excited, but the other part of me is like, bro, if you have the technology to pull it out,
We have the technology.
then let me put it back in.
Sorry,
Not-
Joe.
no
I
sexual
we can
innuendo.
build
your
it.
sex tape on that one.
My OnlyFans.
If we have the technology to pull it out,
But if we got
We
the
have
technology to
put
pull
it back
out,
in.
let me put it back
we
in,
got
bro.
the technology to put it back in.
That's what I'm saying. Like, how are we in
DemonJoe
an
TM.
age?
Demonetized is what just happened right there.
Bro, how are we in an age where it's like, you know, they come out with the loadouts and everyone's like, yes, man, this is great. I don't need to use dim anymore. And then Bungie's like, well, you're going to have to use dim for putting stuff back in your vault because we can't do that.
So
for
what
some
you
reason.
should do is basically just leave a browser window open on dim, turn farming mode on,
Mm-hmm.
and then
Yep.
when you pull stuff out, it's always sending stuff back for you, and you're just
Yeah.
done. So just leave farming mode always on, and you're good.
How
It
would
still
know-
sucks. You need to do it both ways, but that's just the way for
Yeah.
now.
I
guess,
guess
like-
that's my biggest pet peeve.
I didn't even realize that was a thing. So
Yeah.
you just opened my eyes to that too.
They
I mean,
confirmed
Yeah,
that.
you
in, like,
just
some kind of
broke.
interview.
You broke his excitement. Just little pieces of his brain.
well, and because I was already kind of like, I mean, not dogging on it because having it in the game will be tight, but like, I was already kind of finding out that it's not going to change, like your emblem and your ship and Sparrow and.
Are you
Ghost Shell and
really
stuff.
worried about cosmetics, though? You are probably
That's
one of
the
the
end game.
Oh,
Hello?
my god.
It's the end
Okay,
game,
no.
bro.
Oh, hold on. Okay, so you're gonna be like Cog. If he was here, he would be with you 100%. He's like, all right, before I go into trials, I gotta get decked out on the right shaders. I gotta have my
Yes,
The right
cinematic,
Sparrow,
my ghost,
the right ghost,
uh,
the right
ship,
ship, the right emblem. Like,
all the
what,
stuff that doesn't affect your gameplay.
what game are you playing that it says who are you?
Oh, that's hilarious.
Oh my gosh, dude. You're
This
like
man
when
is
I
not
queue
playing
into trials
Destiny.
and see some dude with like a completely mismatched set of gear that has like just great looking stats. Like he just, just didn't
I mean, if
didn't
you
even
get-
make even an ounce of effort to try to even put the same shader on stuff.
I mean, I will say I'm very happy with the appearance system now because I got so tired of like, oh, this thing switch out, and I always never knew what piece was on. Now at least with the appearance, I can go ornament, shader, and be done. So I appreciate that, but I just find it funny that you get. I mean, I was like, the fact that it's most of the way there, that's something they will probably add later. But I will tell you that was probably just not a priority.
Dude, like,
That's all
You
I'm
can
saying.
rip apart in your own chat, by the
I
way,
know,
about
that's-
fashion.
I know.
Like they're on my side for this one.
That's
Yeah,
fine. Somebody has
'cause
to
it's
be
a
the
good
dissenting
point.
opinion in here.
No, because you feel
Apparently,
more
it's the guy's channel whose host is going to get ripped to shreds by his own chat. Somebody's got to
Dude.
do it.
you feel more powerful when you're looking good. Like when I'm sitting there as like a Heart of Inmost Light Titan, like I got to build my look around the exotic. And if I change my exotic, I got to change my whole look because I
Yep.
got to make it work with what else I put on. If I'm not looking
Amen.
sexy,
Preach,
if
hallelujah,
I'm not
amen.
looking sexy while I'm killing aliens, what's
Saint
the
just
point?
chimed in.
Uh-huh.
Just saying.
I'm not arguing.
you're
I'm
right.
honestly not arguing. I'm just saying, like, they will probably try and add that stuff later. It just probably wasn't a priority from the get-go. That's all I'm saying.
Probably.
But I totally get where you guys are at. Looking good, feeling good, comfortable in your own skin, ready to kick some butt. We're good.
I've described Bungie in the same way that I describe Apple to a lot of people. And what I mean by that is very rarely is Bungie the first to do something.
Yeah.
But when they do it, they will do it in a way that is nearly perfectly executed. I'm not specifically talking about things like matchmaking, because that's a whole
that's a whole podcast.
We'll
get there.
I'm talking about like UI, game systems. Like, okay, perfect example of this. This is something they did first, actually, that nobody else has done. So maybe it was a bad example for this specific for what I'm talking about. But find one other game where you can edit your character on a loading screen.
I'm currently trying to prove you wrong, but it's not boding well.
No, if you're loading is long enough, you can do it. It'll kick you out, but if your loading is long enough, you can do it.
No, but I mean, like when you're flying to a different planet, that's a loading screen.
Oh, I know.
Right?
Yeah.
And the whole time when I'm matchmaking, that's a loading screen. And the whole time I'm in there flopping shaders and flip-flopping my armor and choosing different mods and doing all these different things, because it exists on a completely separate system for whatever voodoo they have going on in the background to let me do that. Every other game I've ever wanted to do that in, Division, Anthem, Borderlands. Like, find me any other game where you're trying to change your cosmetic. Can you do it unless you're boots on the ground playing the game? Nope, sure can't.
Yeah. I mean, I've never really like thought about it like that, but like it is kind of huge. Like I can... before I load into a mission, right? I don't need to sit there and tweak my loadout. I can just start loading into the mission and then change my stuff. I'm killing two birds with one stone at that point. That's pretty cool. Like, yeah, I haven't really thought about that, but yeah, that is one of like the Bungie exclusive features that goes so hard.
That's crazy.
On the other side, there are two sides to this coin. This is the Bungie coin. You have the head side, which is what Teej just talked about. Cool systems. Like the UI that we have, like started showing up it's in Hogwarts, okay? The UI is freaking everywhere. On the other side of that coin, Hogwarts is a brand new game and did transmog better than Destiny has done in years because
smiley face.
One, we have a cap, and two, you have to pay for any of it, and it's not everything you've ever unlocked and seen ever. And it's just like, we had Outriders just say, "Oh, you've seen it? Do it." Hogwarts just did it. And I'm like, so there are certain things, and again, we've had the monetization discussion to death on this show previously, so we don't need to beat a dead horse. But yeah, there are times when Bungie does something very well, and there are other times when I have ultimate head-scratching moments when it comes to stuff that they choose to do.
I will say, not to derail us into the monetization concept, but I have one thing that I tell people whenever I get the monetization discussion going, which is that not a single game that has tried to compete with Destiny has made it. And part of me has to at least wonder if, due to the size of the studio, the amount of things they work on at any given time, that the fact that us bozos keep paying for this stuff, because I've bought my fair share of cosmetic transmog little vials or whatever the heck they're called, synth
weave
jars.
Maybe. Sure.
There it is. That's the one. The weaves. Sure. Whatever.
Yeah, maybe. I could be wrong.
Is part of what's sustaining the ability for Destiny to have literally lasted 8 years and not been completely washed away by even a single new IP that has come out to try to operate in the same space.
Yeah, I mean, trust me, it's like, if I would love to see like some financial numbers over like how many people are buying transmogs. I mean, granted, people love cosmetic sets of armor, and they have figured out the price point along with all the other games of how much these things cost. That apparently data analytics, they get that. My issue is when you tell someone, and it's in the TWAB, I think somewhere, where now the legacy pack is going to contain Shadowkeep, Beyond Light, Witch Queen, but the Forsaken pack is still an extra thing that you can buy. And the 30th anniversary, if it's not on sale, which is Dares, which is free, by the way. So it's basically just a dungeon and a rocket launcher and
and just cosmetics.
Yeah. That is $25, not on sale. And I'm going, why? Forsaken expansion pack, which is a dungeon, which has not been updated, a raid, which has not been updated, and you get some exotics. The exotics are pretty much, so you're paying for the exotic pack. Like, there are certain things that should, in my opinion, at this point, especially because we had a couple of Travis's friends who were on here, and they were brand new players. One was like pretty casual, getting a little bit here, there, where they can. The other was like 6 months, brand new, but kind of dove in deep. And either way they face it, Like if you're a new player and you log in the middle of like the 3rd season of a year, you have more pop-up windows that flash at you every time. I mean, he loaded in 1 and he had the Witch Queen mission. The next thing he knew, Saint and Osiris were having Nez Cafe and he had no idea what the hell was going on. So like
I've never heard it referred to that way before, and I'm just having to process for a second.
You haven't heard that?
No.
You haven't heard the Nez because he makes him tea. He makes him tea. And it's Nezerac, so you put them together.
Somehow you've made something that I found completely disturbing and uncomfortable even more disturbing and uncomfortable. And I don't know how you did it, but you did it very simply and very quickly. So thank you for that.
You're welcome. That's what we do here. We make you uncomfortable.
Like, don't get me wrong. I'm glad it fixed Osiris. Like, that's all good and stuff. But now I'm thinking about, like, those jars were around, like, a long time. Like, that's super gross. Like,
it's kind of like, did you watch The Mummy and those, like, jars he had? It's like drinking that stuff, and that just can't be good. I don't know. There are not enough
Joe
filters.
Rogan to pop in on the animatic and be like, welcome to Fear Factor. Like like I just, like, and I just ugh.
Darkness Cafe. Yeah. So I don't even know where I was. I totally lost my train of thought.
You're talking about like new player pop.
Oh yeah, the new player experience. Yeah. So it's just the point to where I know their pricing model allows them to make money. Now they do have the comfort of Sony backing them, and they're not going to hopefully fail. Now, granted, I know that $3.6 billion goes lots of different places. We understand
just a few billion,
But the idea is, I know we recently in this season, I think Destiny Bulletin or whoever, no, Blueberries was showing like the stats for this season, like towards the end, they've actually been climbing a little bit. The player population for Steam has been going up a little bit, which is nice to see. But in general, like over the course of expansion after expansion after expansion, you do just bleed players if they log in and hit 17 paywalls. And this is kind of where some of the stuff needs simplified. I know you have the Legacy Collection, but like how much do you think the Legacy Collection should cost? When you're talking about Shadowkeep, Beyond Light, Witch Queen's good, but now it's going to be a year old. Should it be a $60 pack? Should Forsaken be $25? 30th anniversary? I added up when it was not on sale before Lightfall came out. If you wanted Lightfall and everything else, it was $210. That's too much, in my opinion.
That's tough.
I mean, if you were like $120 for the whole package, that could be a little easier pill to swallow, or $140 maybe if you're going to go Legacy for $40. But the old stuff, all piecemealing, that's the part for me. The whole transmog, and because it's like a live service game, but you buy expansions, you buy season passes, you buy dungeon keys, you buy cosmetics. So it's free to play, but not free to play, and then 14 things in between. So that's where it's like, I understand, but also at this point, I feel like they're probably doing okay. Some of the stuff could probably use a little balance. So that's all. So
yeah, I agree with that. I know they need to make money and stuff, but like you said, between like the expansions and obviously Eververse for a long time has been extremely profitable. As we can tell by the number of cosmetics that come out.
Oh man, we're never short there.
Man, it just, they implemented, the whole competitive rework and stuff. And they're like, oh yeah, so the cosmetics for this are going to come like 6 months later. Yeah. And then the Dawning rolled around like a week after that announcement. And it's just got like mountains of cosmetics. Like you could have taken one designer for the Dawning shit and put him on competitive PvP. Like you made this whole rework, but you had like no reason to engage with it outside of a pistol already in the game. Well, like the priorities are a little whack in terms of monetization versus player incentive via gameplay. They got to make money somehow. And like T said, Bungie's literally the only company doing this. So it's not like they got any competition.
I'll give them that. They have survived sometimes despite themselves, I feel like. But yes, they have survived.
Like we've invested our time. This is a good example. I've invested a lot of money into Destiny. But that money has been very well invested because Destiny's not going anywhere, right? I paid $80 for Anthem. I bought the insane edition.
I think I did EA. I did EA Play Pro actually, so I got mine now.
My money instantly down the drain.
It's gone, dude.
So at least if I buy like the $100 version of Destiny, I have 365 days worth of shit to do. Some of those days I might not be doing some shit, but at least it's not like Anthem and it doesn't get completely wiped. So yeah, the monetization can be a little egregious sometimes, but it's not like there's another company out there that's doing what Bungie's doing. So at the very least, I don't know. I can give them respect for that.
Yeah, I would rather pay more for the current content if newer players could have some of the old content come with that new package. Like, if the deluxe edition was 120, and I know this is where everybody's going to be like, oh, where's the price tag that pisses everybody off? But like, if the deluxe Lightfall was 120 instead of 100, but the Forsaken pack, the 30th anniversary, and some other stuff was free, and allowed new players to have a little more, like, if they're, hey, what's the free-to-play experience? Well, it's a little better now. That's the trade-off where I feel like they could start kind of leaning into. Like, us addicted ones, they got us. I'm paying, it's, it's in the veins. What's the hot take?
Just give me a subscription.
I would do that in a heartbeat, man. Yeah. I would do it.
A lot of people,
subscription, dude.
A lot of people will say they don't want the subscription, but we're literally already doing a subscription.
We're doing
it's just every 3 months.
Yeah, we're doing $8 a month. Just make it $10 a month and I'm done.
Yep.
Make it a simple $9.99 and I'll forget about it like every other streaming subscription I have.
I think you can throw in benefits to that too, right? Like you can just say,
get free silver every month for the.
Well, not even free. Like even think about like no limit on synthesis bounties. Right.
Yeah.
There you go. Like just keep you want to go back and keep paying 8 to 10,000 glimmer, but just whatever. Just let us do as many as we want. Like little, like obviously it's gonna have your dungeon pass. It's gonna have your raids. Like it's gonna have all the stuff you'd already have anyway from a deluxe. And like you just sit there and you wait. And sure, then maybe you say, you know what? In every annual expansion, because it's got a kick-ass campaign in it and all the voice actors we had to pay and all these different things. There's, $50-$60 a year, whatever that is on top of your service. That's what Final Fantasy 14 does. And look at it's the most popular MMO in the world.
Yeah.
Like, like it's just
WoW's been doing it too. Like both of those have figured something out.
They got something going on here.
I remember like ESO, Elder Scrolls Online, you could get like the premium version of that, like the subscription version. And for as long as you have the subscription, you have all the content in the game plus benefits. So if I'm a new player and I'm like, man, like I don't know if I'm gonna like this Destiny stuff, but I want to have the full experience. Pay $10 for 1 month. I get Witch Queen, Shadowkeep, Forsaken, everything unlocked for the month that I'm paying the $10. And if I cancel my subscription, then I can keep my loot, but I can't play the content anymore. Kind of like how Game Pass was for console players. I think a subscription would help big time for new players. You pay $10. I did that with whenever that Jedi Fallen Order game came out, I bought like the EA subscription for $5, played it for a month, beat it, and then canceled it. Yeah. So as a new player coming into Destiny, I'm like, okay, I'll drop $10 for this month. I got all the content available to me. I'll play as much as I want. And if I enjoy it, I'll stick around, keep paying that $10. If not, then I'll get out.
I guess this brings me back to Witch Queen is free for 3 days right now. The Witch Queen campaign. It is only for 3 days. Now, a lot of people.
Weekend.
I was like, it's a weekend, but a lot of people don't typically have, like the average gamer, not us crazy people who make content and live in these things. The average gamer, you don't even know if they have, like, what is the Witch Queen campaign for a casual gamer going to take them about 10 hours, maybe, if they're going to do it. So it's like, they may not have 10 hours in the weekend to do it. So maybe they get 2/3 of the way through. Then they're like, oh, what do you do to play it? Oh, I got to pay how much? Just. So it's like.
If it's Bungie's pricing, sure, but I think the platforms right now, especially, have docked Witch Queen to like $20 for the deluxe.
Witch Queen was, really
it's pretty
cheap
reasonable right now.
But again, it's always like, how long do those last? I never quite know. But yeah, it's Witch Queen's very, very cheap right now for sure. So it's like, if you're looking to pick it up, by the way, Witch Queen, $20, deluxe edition. Now, granted, it doesn't really do you too much, but unless you just want to no life it for 3 days, it's just weird. It feels like. So when they do something like, hey, here's Witch Queen, it's only 3 days. And it's those little moments where, hey, here's this little tease so we can get you to like it and play a little bit more. So it's like, it's nice
cool
that
if it was
free.
like a week before,
Yeah.
A whole week. You get to try it right before Lightfall. Get caught up with the campaign, beat the campaign, and then that'll hook you in for Lightfall or something. Yeah. But instead, it's like you said, only like really hardcore gamers are probably going to be the ones that engage with this opportunity. Whereas other people are probably going to get a few missions in, they'll do their real life stuff. And then by the end, they probably won't even beat it and be like, whatever. They don't really get attached or anything. And yeah, I feel like, I like what Bungie's doing. It's cool that they're doing it. But if you're trying to hook in a more casual player base and get people really involved, you can't just say on a whim, oh yeah, starting now, you got 3 days.
Yeah,
You know?
it didn't get a lot of, I guess, build up either, as you said. So that's the other
Right,
piece.
right.
It was just out of nowhere. You got 3 days. I'm like, you have 72 hours to do what? Cool.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Duval.
yeah,
Never played the game before.
do Vow in 3 days.
Yeah.
If you do Preservation, you'll see part of Vow. So I guess we are about an hour in, so we can kind of transition. The difficulty article. Challenge, bringing it back to Destiny. My general take from this is they wanted to normalize the difficulty scaling for basically every activity. Legends this, Heroes this, Masters this. There's no more Adept because Adept was kind of useless anyway. Grandmasters are 25. We kind of got the levels. So difficulty scaling wise, like if I post up a video, and again, my news videos are not the biggest in the world by any stretch, there are a lot of people in the comments who are not happy about this. And I wanted to get your guys' takes from just the thoughts of, oh, now a legend difficulty, I'm going to be minus 15 power level. And the idea of it feeling that way. And I was curious your guys' takes on just, this is okay. Teej, how you feeling about the difficulty scaling, bud?
Oh my gosh. Listen, I am the last person who wants Destiny to cater itself towards the world's first winners. Okay, I'm the last person that wants that. So I don't want to be grouped in with some high profile personalities that have gone very public about their Destiny is too easy opinions. I won't name anybody specifically, but anyway, I don't want to be that. But this article in particular focused on the Vanguard Ops playlist, which if you play the Vanguard Ops playlist, which doesn't have a difficulty selector,
yeah,
it's kindergarten. It's a meme. It doesn't. There is zero difficult. My mother could make it through 3 heroic strikes for a Pinnacle every Tuesday. Okay, and that's saying something because she doesn't play shooters or any video games at all. And so, like, you know, when a round of Gambit, which we'll talk about later, is more difficult from a combat perspective than the entirety of the Strikes playlist, I get mowed down by Gambit ads all the time. That's a problem. Is what it is. It's not about difficulty at that point. It's about the fact that you have a core gameplay feature, ritual activity that you're putting effort into and you want to revamp and all these things. And you can literally tie your hands behind your back, play with your nose and a controller on the desk and make it through the strikes. Like it's real. Like that's not good. So to say that there's going to be you just have to pay attention is the difficulty increase here. You just have to keep your eyes
this
open.
way.
You know, I don't think there's much reason to complain.
Yeah,
Joe?
I completely agree. Like T said, literally Gambit ads are so much more of a threat than like the base enemies in PvE. Dude, and not only does this apply to the Vanguard Ops playlist, this applies to raids. It is so hard to die to an ad in a raid activity. Like just load up a regular raid, load up DSC. Bro, ads, they don't do anything. I remember there was a clip of day 1 Deep Stone Crypt where Dado was on the 3rd encounter and he is standing still trying to get the ads to kill him so that he can wipe. And they still were having trouble killing him so that they could wipe. Like the Gambit ads are so much more of a threat than they are in just regular PvE. And I mean, I get it. There's a lot of people, they hear that the game is going to get more difficult and they don't want it to get more difficult. Theoretically, if you didn't want to upset people, like with the Vanguard Ops playlist, you could just go back to like a Destiny 1 system and allow us to select, like, I thought that it would be cool if they made like a legendary strike playlist. You get double the loot, extra rep. Yeah.
Now,
and then
for clarity here, they're keeping Hero, right?
Oh,
yeah,
Nightfall's
Adept is going.
Keep Hero. Adept is out of Nightfall.
Is going.
Is
Hero's
gone.
staying.
Vanguard Ops just has no power advantage. So instead of being like whatever over your, because it's 1350. Vanguard Ops is 1350.
Right.
So when 415, 90, 16, 21, or whatever crazy people are, whatever as high as that delta scaler goes, you get an advantage. At this point, I think Teej, as you said, the best way to say it is you're going to need to just look at your screen. You're going to need to pick up the controller and probably click the button a few times. And I may sound like a Dado hashtag Dado doesn't care like ass in this situation to be like, you need to pay attention. But like Heist Battlegrounds felt wonderful this season.
Yes, it did.
Yep, and that's a step above what Vanguard Ops is going to be. Vanguard Ops is going to just like, and this is what I guessed. I was like, Vanguard Ops is probably going to be a 0. And then,
Yeah,
Heist
it's just gonna
Battlegrounds
put
is
you on
-5.
level.
Yeah, you're matching them. You shoot them,
Yeah.
they shoot back. Not that big of a deal. It's not like I'm going to go into Grandmaster, look at the Insight Terminus purple fire on the ground and just die. Cannot tell
Yeah.
you how mad that stuff makes me. Of which that stuff's actually not getting as... And that's the other piece, too, is between the surges and the threats, we have more flexibility.
We also have it easier. I don't know if you guys caught this, but threats are 25%
Yes.
the same way that surges are. Right now,
Yeah.
burns are 25 out, 50 in.
And that's the one,
Yeah.
like, for me, when I was trying to... I finally did. I soloed it twice. I soloed Insight Terminus Grandmaster. And it's the stupid...
Oh, you sweaty lord. My goodness, that's horrible.
I did it once on like Tuesday or Wednesday, like my first early attempts. I was like, I knocked out and I was like, all right, let me record this and I want to do one more. It took me the rest of the friggin' week to get it the second time. I cannot tell you how many deaths I have recorded. And a lot of those, like I could get popped in the air by the boss. This little like boop. That was not as bad. But if that purple fire touched my pinky toes hair, you're done. So the fact that the threat is half as bad, I think will make things like Grandmasters and things like Masters actually more manageable because you may get a little less one shot. They may be a little chunkier and they may take a few more like trigger pulls, but on the other side, you're probably going to get less of those like, hey, it's a solar burn, one shot from a solar snipe. Like that feels like there's going to be a bit more of a give and take. And I think that's going to balance out. And then on top of Surge and Overcharge, like your whole damn loadout's going to be 25% anyway, if you just pay attention. Yeah. And I think that's the other piece. So Surge, we're going to have Strand all season, pretty much everywhere you look. And then it's going to be Void or Solar. If you look at the artifact bonds, which we'll get to, they're all over it. The other side is Overcharged. Anti-champion weapons are basically just straight overcharged in high difficulty stuff. So if you match an anti-champion mod, you're getting the bonus there. If your subclass is part of the Surge, your kinetic weapon is now. Hello, Arbalist. Welcome back, little buddy.
Oh, come on. I'm so bored of and linear fusions in general.
I'm not going to argue that. Just, I don't know. The gun got kind of nerfed, but not that much of a nerf. It was like 7 or 8%. But then now with this, if it's kinetic and you match, it's back. It's good to go. It's fine.
And better.
Yeah. And well, I mean, match game's not there, so it doesn't actually hold as much weight, which is good because it's mostly about breaking the shields. We have a lot of options for stunning champions and stuff, but between pretty much surges and overcharges, I feel most of your loadout is going to be high difficulty stuff, at least pretty much 25% boosted. Almost everything you throw out there. And then coming in, as you said, we have less.
Yeah.
The burn is not going to be as lethal. Now, is a Grandmaster still going to hurt? Yeah. Don't stand in the open and get shot by everybody. But like the pinky toe is not going to blow off your whole game. Is my whole point. So, is there anything in this article for you guys where it's like, we'll get to the updates on rewards in a second, but surges, difficulty scaling, Joe, where you at with like surges and threats and overcharges? Is there anything you're like where are you falling on that type of change? Because overcharges are kind of a new thing.
I mean, I don't know. It seems fine. Like I didn't really think any of that stuff was like necessary. You take the surge and the threat. You just take an age-old concept from Destiny 1, such as a burn, and you just split them into two different things. I guess that gives you more flexibility as far as modifiers are concerned and whatnot. I mean, that's cool. The overcharge thing, yeah, that's great. Hot take though, like elitist captain gameplay take. Like I know that Bungie said like bringing challenge back to Destiny, but like when you take into account that threats are less than burns in terms of damage taken, and you take into account things like surges and overcharges, elitist take here, but the enemies are getting like a certain percentage more difficult, and we are getting exponentially percentage more powerful. If you take into account like some of the new fragments that I've seen with like Void 3.0 that they're bringing, and so and just some of the new additions like with
killing, getting
matching,
overshield, that one looks fun.
Like the whole thing, like with overcharges, and it like makes your kinetic weapons like crazy powerful and stuff. Izanagi's Burden just gonna one shot everything, or like Arbalist, like I feel like, hey, yeah, the enemies guys, they're getting tougher, and you're getting more powerful. So it's like, what's the point? elitist take, but I genuinely think we're going to be more
think
powerful.
That's very elitist. I think that's pretty
I
lukewarm
think
take, dude.
it's for null and void.
It's
like
tepid.
you know,
it's a tepid
we take
take.
less damage. We take less damage. Our Arbalist and Izanagi is going to do more damage. We have things with Void 3.0, like, oh, well, if you kill an enemy while you have no shield, you get an overshield. It's like, dude, it just sounds like we're just getting more powerful, and they're just saying the enemies are getting more powerful. When in reality, we're about to take less damage. We're about to deal more damage. We're getting crazy build crafting potential in the new fragments, and the build crafting system is getting simplified to be like an Orbs of Power system. And which is just going to feed into so much stuff, like getting your super and getting bonus weapon damage and just getting Devour if you're running Void. And it's just like, I just think we're going to be more powerful than we are now. Like, yeah, Resilience is getting a 10% nerf, but look at everything else we're getting.
Yeah,
I genuinely think that the game might get easier. But with most of this stuff, like, it's on paper. So it's hard to tell.
Right.
It sounds interesting. We'll have to see how it is in practice, but just from what I'm seeing, I think, I think we're just going to be really powerful, dude.
I mean, I think the biggest thing is we're going to be fine. Everybody's freaking out, or like, everybody's
at the very least, we're definitely fine.
I think you said it well. Is like, I think it's going to net out to be pretty neutral of it. We're stronger, they're stronger. We have a little less resilience, but then we're going to be like having overshields potentially, or your restoration. And they also said like solar weapon mods, if you lean into a certain type in the artifact, because we have the artifact previews, those are going to be cheaper. And then the grenade mods, I can only imagine a Warlock Devour grenade crazy build.
There's so much stuff.
There's going to be a lot of options. And I'm really looking forward to loadouts, because just to be able to have 3 mod slots, put whatever you want to. If you want to go all in like grenade recharge in every way possible, if I do melee damage, if I cast my class ability, it's like, and then now some of those things are going to be cheaper as well. I think if you dig a little bit, and I will say, if anybody wants like a really entertaining, if you're okay with the idea of it, but go watch Dado's video over this yesterday that he put out, and just his tone of voice for about 20 minutes after he gets through about the first 6 or 7 intro, but about his tone of voice for about 20 minutes is just hilarious. He's just like, guys, we're talking about Vanguard ops. And it was kind of like exactly what you said at the start. I'm like, it is not that big of a deal. And they finally actually updated today the rewards. Like, every reward from Legend, Hero, Master, Grandmaster, they're all better. Every one of the rewards just got better. So it may be a little more difficult, but guess what? Now your time is better spent. You can do a Legend Nightfall and have a chance at an Ascendant Shard.
Oh, I didn't even know that.
Yep, that got updated today.
Yeah, so it's like, put in the extra work, getting the extra rewards. I mean,
did you want to add an elitist take there, Teej?
No, I don't want to add an elitist take too. I guess I just feel like, and I'm okay with that. I mean, I think that people should be able to masterwork their armor. I don't really like the idea of like, I've been fortunate to meet a bunch of new lights recently, and one of the biggest things I hear is that, I love to masterwork my gear, but I can't afford shards, or I can't buy the shard. I'm not ready for GMs and all these different things. So to me, I'm fine with that. My thought is that, we've heard that the alloys are not going anywhere. We're still going to have alloys for enhanced perks, and I need them to increase the sources of Ascendant alloys, or at least make it a 50-50 coin toss in GMs and these and master content, like one of each. Like I'm so sick of being like, okay, I really want a shard, so the best thing for me to do is to play Master Heist, maybe, or run the weekly campaign mission, maybe, like,
or Wellspring, yes.
Like, it's just like, what I want to craft weapons. It's already a pain in the rear to level them, but if I get them up there, I want to enhance them. And let me tell you, man, that economy for those alloys is rough.
Yeah. If you enhance perk 2 weapons, you're just broke.
Yep.
You're like, I have 10,000. That whole
in the slums.
Oh, I mean, over the course of this entire year, we went from having a theoretical 50 currencies, which we never saw for all of the different perk currencies. Then we got to like 5 currencies. Then we got down to 1 currency. Now that whole thing is going away. The only thing that they have said that might be staying around is the Ascendant alloys, because the 2 Radiant and Harmonic, which is like the raid alloy, those are going away in a future season 2. So literally it's like the systems they started with, not even remotely the same. They're going to have 1 thing left over. So this has been quite the crafting beta test year of trying to figure out this system. But I'm with you.
Yeah.
The alloys need to be just have, but a chance at an Ascendant alloy in, a Master Nightfall or just other places, just a chance.
Yeah.
You could see this. You could see this. Maybe this.
I
that, or
think
the
you
other.
could make them more accessible than shards. Because at the end of the day, the only way people are using these alloys is if they bother to level their weapons up to a certain point, which is a much more grandiose commitment than getting a piece of armor and wanting to masterwork it.
Yeah. And you don't do it that often. Like, well, if I've got one weapon leveled up, used it far, well, the next time I'm going to do that is probably going to be a hot minute. So I don't need to do it that often.
No.
But the fact that if you do actually run out, you're like, oh, God. So, no, I'm with you there.
Alloys to me feel like that should be a standard reward for playing the game and within a reasonable cadence.
Yeah, and I'd say that's fair. Like, you could use an Ascendant shard to max out your armor and then get like this insanely like crazy build. Or you could get an alloy, which is going to give you +5 reload on Dragonfly. Like, what the fuck, bro? Like, why are we gatekeeping alloys for +5 reload, dude? You know what I mean?
You're not,
That's how I feel about
you're not wrong. You
Like,
get
come
through the
on,
perks.
man.
Yeah.
You enhance it when you get around to it because it's not that big of a deal.
Yeah, I already got to do the work of leveling up a terrible weapon. I either go to Shirochi or I'm forced to use Eye of the Storm rangefinder on dregs, and then I get my really, really underwhelming enhanced perk. Like, yeah, it should definitely, they should just kind of be naturally flowing.
Now, speaking of difficulties, the one thing in this article that I was not a fan of personally, and I was vehemently against this actually.
Oh, it's a big $10
I've never heard
word.
that word before.
Vehemently?
Vehemently?
Never.
Oh, I
heard
love that. It's a great. You got to start using it. It's a really good one.
I think I'm gonna add it to my vocabulary right now.
Also, look up perseverate. That'll mess with you for a second.
I'm gonna do it right now.
Okay, that one even I don't know.
Perseverate.
It's basically
this better not be something bad.
No, it's basically to fixate on something. But our friend is a dietitian. She works in a hospital, so it's like if somebody has like dementia or something, they fixate on one thing like a lot. But it's basically they call it perseverating. Anyway, yeah, I learned new words too. But yeah,
Sure.
So equipment is locked on Legend and Master difficulties as well as Grandmaster. I'm like, fine, I'm not going to die on that hill.
Yeah.
Matchmaking is still on Hero, but closed on Legend is the one that pisses me off so much.
Cringe.
Why?
It does not. Matchmaking should be turned on Legend. You have Master, you have Grandmaster that are not. Legend should have matchmaking as an option.
Disagree.
Okay. Let me hear your point. Where are you at on this one, Joe? Are you for or against, or are you going to be the judge? Can you be
Okay, what I will say is that I think pretty much everything should have optional matchmaking at the very least, because I mean, like it's there. Like you're not forced to interact with it. But what I will say in defense of Teej, like Heist Battlegrounds, are they -5 or -10?
-5.
-5.
Dude, the blueberries you get in Heist Battlegrounds are horrendous. Like I have played with some people in Heist Battlegrounds that like genuinely I question if they have thumbs or not. It's bad. They don't have champion mods. They die to dregs and regular ads and stuff. So matchmaking, yeah, you have the potential if you do opt into it to get some of the most horrible players in the universe. But at the end of the day, I think it still should be an option. I don't feel like it's doing any harm by existing. It's just that, are you brave enough to take your chances on, getting Timmy Two Shoes in your fire team, or are you going to try to get some kind of Giga Chad, All
right. Do you want me to go first, Teej, or do you want to go first?
You go ahead.
Okay. So
Teej is going to completely break down your
I'm loving it. I want to hear why. So one of the things they did for Legend, they already have it set up. You cannot try and enter Legend until you're 1800, which means you have done the complete powerful grind, which means you are somewhat committed to the game. Not a ton, but it's not just like, Heist Battlegrounds makes you -5 whether you're 1350 or 1590. So 1800, you got to kind of commit to get through it. The other piece that I would say would be a requirement for this is locked loadout for Legend should be off. And what that would allow you to do,
I agree with that.
matchmaking should be on for Legend and lock loadout should be off for Legend.
I give you 10 points and agree with you on the line, but also matchmate. You have to throw it in. I know that's what you want.
The reason is, if someone like, anybody listening to this podcast who pays a little more attention to Destiny than normal, you go into an activity and you're like, hey, what champions do I have? Okay, I'm probably going to make sure I've got stuff to cover those. If for some reason you see your blueberries might be a little bit struggle busing, you can at least probably switch and cover in on the fly with dim and whatever else you want to do. And that allows you to make the switch to be like, okay, they're having issues. I've got to handle champions, but we'll get through it together. Because I have not done enough, like, go to Bungie.net, community, find a fire team, no microphone. I've got through enough stuff on... I've done a master wellspring without a microphone. Just find a fire team, random people, smash your way through it, and you get through it fine. The fact that a Legend Nightfall still doesn't have matchmaking, I'm going... And the other piece is, like, we got 9 months now until we get to in-game LFG. So that's going to be there anyway. I just think the Legend is like that way for a player who wants to do a little more, but can't quite get to the master difficulty. And again, Legend is that level now with that, like, chance, baby chance at an Ascendant Shard, that if they could matchmake into that, they'd have that shot of getting that Ascendant Shard now. So it's like all of those pieces together. But the level cap was big, because I don't want some, like, 1601 be like, oh, that Legend Nightfall looks fun. I'm like, what the hell are you doing in here? No, I don't want you in there. But if you're 1800, you made it that far in, I'm probably going to give you a little bit of a chance. That's where I'm at.
Okay.
Now, shoot holes in my entire argument. Go.
It's not even about shooting holes, because your argument's pretty good. And I think from the perspective of completions in the playlist, I think there's probably advantages to having some matchmaking in place. So I'm not going to dismiss that at all. What I am going to say is, as it stands right now, for any number of seasonal challenges, title triumphs, bounties, weapon leveling, any other thing, I currently have no way to be alone and complete the things I need to complete over a few strikes instead of 20.
Yeah.
Or without it taking me 4 hours on Master to do by myself. There is...
So optional matchmaking, 100% on that.
Legend is the place I can go when Deadeye Gilding requires me to get a gajillion Nightfall kills without dying or finishing the Nightfall.
Now, do you want to know what...
That's actually so real.
Do you want to know what this actually means? The root of the cause is not the matchmaking. The root of the cause is the design of the bounties, of the seasonal challenges. So again, fix the bounties, fix the seasonal challenges, then this is just an issue that helps more people get involved.
Hold on. I got one more thing. Okay. I'm only 90% with you on that.
Okay, give me the last 10. I go 90, you go 10.
Right. I'm gonna go 10. That's great. Yeah.
You went the whole 100. Why'd you go the whole 100?
Okay, so I can't remember if I brought this up the last time I was on the show or not, but Destiny to me is, if you're an anime fan, Destiny is my Sword Art Online. I want to exist in the world of Destiny. It doesn't really matter what I'm doing. Sometimes I just log in and hang out at the tower. And does that mean that I'm sad and have some things I need to address? Maybe. But but it's
we're here at the campfire hour with Teej tonight, sir. What ails you?
What ails me? So here's the thing. The Corrupted is a perfect example of this. Corrupted is
that is the prime example of why.
The Corrupted is one of the most lore-intensive, beautiful, in-depth strikes Destiny has ever created. It has a multitude of environments. It has a decent selection of major encounters that feature completely unique mechanics, unavailable anywhere else. In particular, I'm thinking of the flipping back and forth between the Ascendant Plane and the ogres, right? So. And you have this really awesome ball charge mechanic that there's so much to love about that strike. Obviously, people don't love doing it 100 times over because it's so long. But one of the things that frustrates me to no end when there is new content, and this happened during Witch Queen, it's happened every expansion, since the dawn of time. When I matchmake into something, and Timmy Bounties a lot just wants to basically put on the eager edge and blast through this strike, so I spend my entire time joining allies every 30 seconds, that I can't simply enjoy the content Bungie has made. So Legend is a really wonderful way for me to say, I'm not going to get matched with any of you nerds. And I'm just going to come in here and blast away and relax at my leisure, check out the strike, enjoy the environment, enjoy the game, and not worry about the absolute blitz of the content. Because I think that like that to me is maybe that's my pet peeve with a lot of I will say the majority of the Destiny community, because I know I'm in the minority, is that like the idea that we blitz content is just so like it frustrates me.
No, and that's where the option of matchmaking. Would you like a freelance Nightfall or would you like a regular Nightfall?
Yeah,
and you could matchmake as an option. And I think that would solve both, because somebody's like, I don't know if I can do this by myself. Please, is somebody else out there who can help me? Teej, I want to do this on my own. You idiots, leave me alone. You solve both. And I think then you could have a decent option there. But it's just but I think Legend, like Master, you don't want to just trip into that on accident. So it's like, so if you need to go find a fire team, or if they want that for in-game LFG, Master, Grandmaster, Master Raids, totally fine. Dungeons, like, that's not a hill I'm willing to die. But like, we did Legend strikes with one of the seasonal events. Was it Guardian Games or something like that? Guardian, and those were like Legend strikes with champions, and they went basically fine. Now, granted, Corrupted is the one wrench in everybody's strike chain. I get that. And believe me, the ball, I mean, how have you not figured this out? One, Bungie sucks at tutorials. Tell a new player, what do you do in Gambit? I don't know, shoot the guys. What are you guys doing? I don't know. Why do I have 15 above my head? They don't have a freaking clue. So tutorials are not like Bungie's strong suit. But yes, the Guardian Games Legend Strike, like, enough people could probably figure out to shoot the champions. Some people would just be shooting the stuff. Some people would actually be managing the champions. But yeah, the optional Legend matchmaking, that's just, I would love to see that over. I just think that's the one part. They've done it before, they've teased it, but they don't want to put it in. So that was mine. Sorry to beat the discussion to death, but
no. But I mean, and I think you're, like I said, ultimately we've kind of come to the conclusion that the choice is what's missing, not the existence of it one way or the other, but the option.
Yeah, because I mean, we've gone for like so many years, and I feel like people have been asking for this kind of stuff forever. And it's not necessarily like, oh, we don't want matchmaking for Legend, but just like Teej said, there's a bunch of different players in Destiny, right? And so where I'm Jimmy joining allies, Teej is like the guy that just wants to chill and do his shit. Like, dude, I've done the Corrupted like 18 billion times. Like, I've done the GM of Corrupted over 100 times. Like, I don't want to do it anymore. I just want to just well skate, do my thing. But, part of that's also because the Vanguard Ops playlist is just like we were talking about earlier.
I will say I wanted to say something funny in chat. When Jimmy joining allies dies so far ahead, don't you laugh really hard when that happens? No, it doesn't matter.
All of a sudden, you've been consumed by the dart, and you're just like, what? No, I haven't. I'm right here. Oh, okay.
Well skated into a wall.
Yeah, oops. Speed Demon jumped a little too far. Sorry, bud. Yeah, that was just funny. Sorry to interrupt. That was
pretty good.
But like, I get Teej's point. Like, I feel like if Bungie wanted there to be solo matchmaking for everything in the game, I feel like they would have done it already. Maybe there's a technical limitation there. I don't know. But, like, I get it. Legend not having matchmaking or whatever, it'd be nice for those that want to play solo. But having it as an opt-in thing, if we can't get everything to have opt-in solo matchmaking, then I guess that would be the best case scenario.
It feels it just felt like the way to kind of have a player who wants to like take the next step,
dip their toe.
Yeah, dip their toe with an option. I like that. So
yeah, I think like it is the appropriate difficulty for that. But I think if you add matchmaking, you add mandated matchmaking to Legend, then people like me who have to get 100 Nightfall kills and 50 precision kills on Vele's X to gild Deadeye are now going into Master, skipping the strike altogether and finding the nearest lost sector to just repeat over and over and over again until that triumph is done. And like, that's not fun. Or as Bungie intended, or like there has to be a way for me to do bounties, to do triumphs, to enjoy the content without,
hating life.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, hopefully this is what I think Season of the Plunder was the tipping point for the community where we're just like, these challenges suck. Whether it was 50, I can't even remember their name because I probably blacked it out. What were the stupid the champions in the expeditions that we had to kill that would occasionally spawn on timers? What is the name? Ruffians. That champion, and then the people who are like Triumph Completionists who had to kill 250 champions in expeditions. You picked the wrong number. That is not a fun thing to do. That is a terrible thing to do.
I am so glad you brought this up. Let me get the soapbox. Hold, please. Brother, I am not quite the Triumph Completionist of the year. I definitely don't have them all. I definitely have not worked on getting them all, especially some of the legacy ones that I thought were ridiculous. But since Witch Queen, I've been really trying to knock out every season's Triumphs completely. And that one is the one I will not have for the year. And I think that is like it. Like how do you acknowledge the problem by scaling back the title Triumph from whatever it was 50 to 5, or whatever it was, something ridiculous, and then not look at the other the same Triumph, just its big brother version, and just be like, that one's fine. Like it's just.
No, that was, and I think that was the tipping point for a lot of people, because it felt like this season felt a little more manageable and better, and hopefully they're learning that. And again, the seasonal challenge is not having to get all 3 ornaments, because I'm like, who wants to do a double reset for every playlist? Because no one's going to do it in Gambit. No, because we have to. I did
5 resets this season in Gambit.
That's impressive. And also, have you checked with your therapist?
Can I tell you why? Because
you are one with the drifter.
Well, I mean, sort of, less so nowadays, but no, it was because so I'm a controller player for clarity on PC. Don't use keyboard mouse. And I'm not super fond of 900 SMGs. For the sole purpose that on controller they just required that little bit of extra effort that I don't feel like putting in 95% of the time. Plus, I think you spend more time reloading them than you actually do shooting them. Sorry, funnel web users, get over it.
Well, that's about to be a thing for funnel web, because that origin trait.
But I became really in tune with 750s. And I'm really loving Icalus, obviously, so is everybody else. I'm really loving Unforgiven. It's the perfect repulsor brace build for my Falcon's Hunter. Nice. You know, Unforgiven is goated. But in the solar category, there is but one.
That is your guy.
And Borrowed Time is the one. And so my hunt for the God Roll Borrowed Time required at least 3 resets to start, because I wasn't going to start focusing until I had options in the trees.
Yep. I get you.
And so I had to at least get 2 resets, 3 resets in order to do that. And then, of course, with the double weekends and all this different stuff, I've been more bounty stacking and everything else. It's been pretty easy to rack up even more of those. Not to mention, they said that Gambit's going to be double rep for like the last 9 weeks of the season or whatever that announcement was. That was like, please do your dredging titles. Please finish playing Gambit. Please. It's double rep for the rest of the season.
Yeah, that was hilarious.
Good news, I did not get the God Roll Borrowed Time on 65 focuses. I've never been so shard poor in my entire life. And got a 3 out of 5. That was as close as I could get, even with perk options. Yep. So
I will say I dumped a lot of Engrams into Crucible just to see like 1 or 2 chill clip Riptides. That is a hard thing to come by in itself, because there's way too many perks in those. Like I could they do 6 on most, and then they do 12 on those. I'm like, how about
all the playlist weapons?
Playlists have like 50,000 every perk that can possibly be on an SMG. We got hold on, how many? We got 25 perks in the 3rd column, 27 perks in the 4th column. Go. You're like, have you done the math on that? Yeah, good luck.
It's wild.
No, I get it. Yeah, it's like those. Give me like, you could do a few extra, but for the average player, it's just like, no. And yeah, the focusing cost still is probably a little too much, but
for the playlist, it totally is. 10 shards tops. 25 is too
like
expensive.
Those weapons are not that great. They're
not.
Yeah, and it's usually 1 or 2 things that you want anyway. And I gotta tell you, why is focusing armor there even an option?
I don't know, dude. That's so bad.
I looked at that too, because they were talking about, we're going to lower focusing costs on our armor. I'm like, who the hell is focusing armor at the Vanguard?
Okay, can we talk about how over the course of the year, the seasonal vendors got progressively worse at armor focusing for high stat gear?
Yeah, because you still go to the war table. Yeah, the war table is the only one.
Well, Crown does pretty good stuff too. I've got quite a few 67, 68s from Crown.
I've had bad luck in everything but the war table.
Okay. Well, the war table was like Santa Claus. It just
it just
spit
keeps
out
giving.
high spike gear.
Yeah.
No, but the star chart and the exoframe were awful.
Yeah, they're not good.
Yeah.
Somebody asked me how to focus, like to do that, to show how to, they're like, oh, how did you get quad hundreds? Show me how you do. I'm like, okay, well, let me go do it. So I go to the exoframe. Like, I haven't focused any armor in sync, and I don't need it, but I'll show you. You take an Umbral, you make sure you got discipline on your ghost, you blah blah blah. Here's a chest piece. 54? I'm like, are you kidding me?
Well, I haven't seen one quite that low. I've seen the 56, 57s, and I'm like, well, this is a waste of time.
Like, what are you like? Oh man, like it was bad. So I just like, don't use this one.
That's one of those things about like focusing armor. Bungie has to know it's like, I'm going to spend the money, the currencies I put time in, the Umbral energy, whatever I'm going to do to get a piece of armor. I want that first number to be 6 or it's going in the trash.
Mm-hmm.
Why?
Yeah.
Like it should. And again, master raids the same way, dungeon armor, all that stuff should be at least 61 or above. If I see a 5 on that thing, I shouldn't exist. Because I mean, that's what your basic Vanguard, that's what your, free to play player can go out there and do your Vanguard armor and whatever. Like that's fine, but your basic drops are that. Any armor that you spend time focusing or a high level activity, 6 should be the starting number, period, because we all know that's the whole point. So I'm with you on that one. Yeah, if you got a 54, that's the worst I've seen.
I would be down to see them put a floor of 6-0 for all armor across all sources in the game.
Yeah.
Because really, at the end of the day, even if it's a 60, if it's 6 10s, it's still going in the garbage.
Yeah. Oh, it's all about the distribution too. Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. So like, I mean, like just like make the game, make the grind about hitting that 10 interval. Oh, how close can you get to 70? Like how close you get to 60, and then with the spikes, right? Like that's because we're already playing that way anyway.
Oh yeah, we throw enough sets of dice, take one of them away. Same thing with exotic like lost sector farming. I was like, there should be a cap on like 4 lost sectors you get 1 or 3 or what. Like they're like, oh, we're gonna look at the numbers and see if exotics need to get buffed. I'm like, do it now at a minimum 25 or 50% more frequently. Because
you
have
looked
to
at the
roll
numbers yet. Was a little look at a minute.
Well, it's like you have to first be on the slot of the day. So that's 1 out of 4 days in a week. Yeah. Then if it is that slot, you have 8 or 7 or however many in that slot. Then you got to make sure it's a decent roll and not a 57 or a 62 and make sure it's not an Aeon safe. Then you got to do like, how many sets of dice do I need to throw? Like if you're farming lost sectors, like every other one, I wouldn't care because there's enough other RNG. You're still not going to probably get what you want.
No.
So, and that's kind of one of those things for us who live in the game and make content and stream for hours and do all those things. If we struggle with it, the other 75% of the player base who doesn't live in the game like we do, they hate it.
Yep.
Yeah.
So I'm like, please just exotic engram drop rates in lost sectors. If that's where we're going to farm them, bump that stuff up. So
man, I'll tell you what, I feel like the thing that there's kind of you can read between the lines here, right? If you solo the lost sector and you're guaranteed the knockout table, right? That exotic you don't have is going to be your first drop. Tight, feels good. And then they're like, you could farm it, and then or you could run GMs when it's double loot week, and you'll be showered more exotics, and you know what to do
ridiculous.
with. Like, like when you think about the fact that if you run let's say you're going for max odds, right? 33%. Max odds, master solo lost sector. Unless you're a very efficient player, that run's going to take you anywhere between 15 and 20 minutes. I mean, I think it's pretty safe to say, unless you're an absolute elite. And so that's about half the time of a GM. But you're guaranteed, in some cases, at least 2 exotics and shards and the weapon from a G. Like there's Bungie is very clearly telling us, go get your exotic farm and GMs. Get your knockout table for the exotics you're missing from lost sectors, and do not bother farming lost sectors. It's not worth it.
And if you're a solo player, too bad.
Too bad.
Yeah.
Well, if you're a solo player, enjoy the 33% chance.
But that's every time. That's not like a build-up that it gets better and better over time.
Yeah.
That's just 1 out of 3 every time. It's like, man,
Yeah.
I keep hitting 7. I keep crapping out on 7.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I probably will transition us to the TWAB. We definitely had our tangent about the trailer, so we're good there.
Yeah.
Shout out to if you guys are listening to the audio version, by the way, the video version, our wonderful guest tonight is wearing and sporting. We've got DemonJoe sporting the Steel Series headset. Gotta love the Lightfall. Did you get the desk mat or anything else, or just the headset?
Yeah, I got the I gave the mouse pad to my dad.
Yep,
So
nice.
I did get that. I already have a mouse pad that I like, so I made sure it got a good home.
Yes, we have the new Steel Series stuff. Crucible was mentioned in the TWAB.
I haven't read it, so I wouldn't know. What did it say?
So the Crucible beckons. Next week, the Comp Division freelance node is going away.
No! Why on earth? Oh no!
I think we lost a guest.
I believe Teej has committed Kasirigama or whatever that samurai suicide is. So we've lost a man. We are now in the Secret Lab Titan Chair stream. This is a great guest. You have supported many people's backs and butts for a long time. No, they said, as we believe the fire team matchmaking is solving the problem in a healthier way. So it's going to be one pool, and we'll see if the fire team matchmaking is doing its thing.
There is one very obvious issue with that.
And?
A duo and a duo have to match with two singles.
Oh, absolutely. 100%.
Which means that if you are wanting to truly play in an environment where every player is not in a team coordination level of play, that is now impossible for you to guarantee.
Yeah.
Most of the time. Seppuku, sorry. Thank you very much. Yeah, so we will see how that goes. I will be curious to get feedback. Bring you guys back for a recap and what? Oh, hold on. Shout out real quick to Christopher Sharp, the legend. Before the holidays, this guy basically gave us a Christmas bonus because holy crap. But shout out to the $100 super chat, DFW. That's Dallas Fort Worth. For those who don't know, represent dude caught the stream late. Thank you very much for the $100 super chat. Massive hype. Also wanted to shout out Necromancer Zale. I know you had a super chat in there too. Didn't want to miss it. But we saw you earlier. And then Scott Schultz with the 6 months of membership. Thank you very much. Sharp though. Thank you. You legend. Yeah, I'm like, I will play Trials myself when freelance is on. Because I cannot tell you the demoralizing nature of being like, let's check the roster. And I'm just going to go to the bathroom. Like, I mean, it may as well be about the same. Because if it's threes and whatever, for whatever reason, I can't tell you. Like, I never get the 2 and 1 versus the 3 stack. It's always the solos versus the 3 stack.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm hoping the fire team based matchmaking thing is working. Because if they start ripping freelance out of places, I'm going to be an unhappy camper.
I don't know why you can't just have both. I mean, I get it. You want to have everybody in the same queue. Like,
yeah.
and
I mean, if the fire team
would have a
matchmaking,
hard time.
Yeah, if the fire team matchmaking worked correctly, like if you have a 2 and a 1, if you have 2s, you got to find the 1s and spend the time looking for them so the match is reasonable. Because otherwise, it's 3 3s and all solos. But it's like you need to spend the time and let that match find it. Because if it's 2 and 1, even versus 3 solos, it's not the same. So they need to spend the extra time to make sure the fire teams match. And then hopefully the solos kind of work their way through the pieces that they get. I mean, in theory it works, but I don't know.
That still sucks for the solos.
I mean,
that still sucks for the solos. The solos who go in a game with odds, right? Like the solos, want to go in and fight solos. And there's an opportunity without a freelance queue for that to just never be their experience. Not to say that wouldn't happen. They certainly will have matches of solos, but
yep.
You're going to get put on those duo teams a lot.
Well, and the other thing is they said they were still working on getting like the dynamic skill range in there, which I don't even know if that's actually in effect. So I feel like you want that, especially for people at the ends of the bell curve, especially the high skilled people. Like if you go in solo and you're a high skilled person and you get screwed in your dynamic skill matchmaking, I just don't feel like it's all quite there yet. So I am worried about that. So sorry to... You're like, I didn't read the TWAB. What happened in Crucible? Oh God.
Oh no. I mean, look, I you'll find that I'm probably one of the biggest apologists there are in terms of the game and everything about it. I mean, it's not something I hide from because it's truth.
Yeah.
Yeah. But like this area is where I have the most grievances and the most critiques and the most kind of discontented feedback.
My Discord crashed.
So
come on back when you can. There you go.
Yeah, we're good. My Discord just decided to poop itself.
Happens.
Oh, you just became DemonJoe. Oh, no, you're
Yep,
not DemonJoe anymore.
switched. So other changes for placement. If you were Adept or Ascendant, you will be able to place directly into Platinum as opposed to working your way from Gold up. So if you were an Adept Ascendant in a previous season, then you will be able to go a little higher, which is probably good, because if I go into Gold and you're in Gold, I don't need to be there if I'm not with you. Mode and map weighting. This is some good stuff. So they said not everybody loves Rift and Showdown. They still think those modes stress Crucible players in different ways, but basically Survival is going to be about 2/3 of the time. Rift and Showdown are split into the other third.
Aww.
Oh, you're one of the rares. Which one do you like, Showdown or Rift?
Showdown.
Okay.
Showdown.
Not Rift. I don't hear a lot of love for Rift at comp.
I like it in 3s, but I don't like it in 6s.
Rift?
Yeah.
6s is just crazy.
Yeah,
dude.
it's a lot of chaos.
yeah. No, but I think Showdown, by the nature of reses and the back and forth, is a lot more dynamic and interesting than Survival. Survival to me is just like, the issue with Survival is the spawns, honestly.
Yeah.
Because if 2 of your teammates get killed, you're the last man standing. They innately spawn away from you.
Oh, yeah.
On the farthest side of the farthest. You have no chance of them getting back to help you. Like, I just find that Showdown allows for a little more ebb and flow.
Yeah.
And I think it's more interesting.
I can pretty much 100% agree with that. I haven't even played it that much, but I can see that for sure. I mean, Rift is the one I think people were not a fan of, but yeah, I would see Survival, Showdown, kind of a bit more of a split. Rift could be a little less. But they said they've also increased the weight of Javelin 4, Endless Veil, and Altar of Flame in comp, and they removed Disjunction and Cathedral of Dusk. I think that's a dub, because those maps are
Eternity.
Yeah, it's probably still there.
Damn.
It's not gone, but the others are weighted higher. But you did get Disjunction out of there, so.
Did get
that's
Disjunction.
the
That's
fattest dub imaginable.
Good
yeah,
one,
so that's like, that's just the W of the TWAB right there.
Yeah.
Apparently in Season 20, you'll be able to guild Glorious, since obviously it's the first time you'll be able to.
Tight.
They also said in Trials and Comp, they're going to introduce something called Knot Swap. Basically what it means is if you switch your exotic armor during a match, your ability, energy, and super is reset. I think this is a good thing.
Which is amazing.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah, so you're not going to be able
Suck
to be
it,
like,
Raijus!
Really good.
Yeah, that's the only thing that, either commit to your super exotic or commit to neutral play. So,
and the reasoning for it is like really good because they talk about how like higher end PC players can do that shit in a snap of a finger. And if you're on console, it takes forever to load the menu. Then you got to move over to pick it and then back out. So yeah, it's really good change.
That's a good change.
So yeah, I mean, the map changes, the knot swap, the weighting, mostly good stuff, I think, for a lot of people. But of course, the freelance node, we'll see how it goes. Roll the dice again. A lot of dice rolling in here. A lot of craps. Unfortunately, I think we crap out more often than not. But we got basically a full rundown of the artifact. You haven't read the TWAB at all?
No.
Okay, we know every artifact mod.
I dropped that video like 30 minutes before this call, so I was super heads down on. I barely watched the trailer. No, I'm glad I did. But no, I think one other thing before we move on from the topic of the queues, I'll say maybe my hottest PvP Destiny take ever is that I wish that Trials and Comp would go back to mandating a team of 3.
Travis might be one on your side, I think, on that one. If he was here, he might be like, all right, we'll have going over to Team Teej.
Yeah, which would be the first time for that for him with me. So that's cool. That's good. Because last time I'm pretty sure that he almost, held a gun to your head and said never have him back on the show ever for as long as I'm on it.
Yeah, I'm pretty much always the one getting guests, so he just kind of shows up. He's the talent. I'm the one who no. Honestly, I get it to a point where it needs 3s, but I will say for me as somebody who I don't have a group of PvP players to always play with. And the fact that I can even I do it less, but I did even as a solo player queue in when just normal matchmaking is going on in Trials. It's painful half the time when I check the roster, but there are moments in games where you get a decent set of a decent match, and I'm like, that's the stuff that gives me the chance to still scratch the itch a little bit, even if I don't have a team set up. So it's like,
I mean, I've gone flawless solo in Trials.
I've never done that. I'm not that good.
there's always a chance. So I mean, it's cool
Captain
from that
gameplay over
perspective.
here. All right.
Dude, okay, I'm dog at PvP. All right, listen. You equip a no time to explain, non-flawless pool, freelance. You're gonna go flawless. I promise.
Nope.
I
don't know if that's true.
promise. Trust the process. It's build crafting. Trust.
Well,
But I will say, it is cool that it gives the chance. Like, I can agree with you there. Like, if on the off chance I do want to hop into trials, it's nice. I think it's nice for the sake of, let's say, trials has like a meta weapon that you can get for PvE. Like, there's something that trials has that's really good for PvE. And for a new player that wants to get that weapon, either they would be forced to LFG or try to find people, or they can just hop in. They can boost up that player population, which we all know trials needs. There always needs more players. So I think it helps keep the population at least healthy, or at least healthier than it would be.
we have a smirk.
I'm not going
here.
to derail the show. Just
No, actually,
The
I
great
wanted
debate.
I wanted to see if I could get an even hotter take. Teej, skill-based matchmaking. Where do you follow?
Oh, dude. Oh, no.
Because you want the sanctity of the 3v3.
I do. Yeah. I
So
do
that
like
means you, I'm guessing, don't want to stomp on like the solos because you don't enjoy that process, which means you want 3 people communicating versus 3 people communicating.
Mm-hmm.
So where do you fall on skill-based matchmaking in other places?
So this is kind of like this sort of starts to get a little bit interesting and has a lot more to do with player pop and kind of the intricacies of the community than it does about like the idea of skill-based matchmaking is tight. Like I think that, like in general, it's cool, but I am an above average player. I'm not elite. I'm not doing trials carries on the weekend. Okay. I guild my flawless. I play my trials. I get my weapons with my teammates and I'm done. I'm an above average player. Because the population size, I am in the elite pool. By the nature of being above average, there is no above average matchmaking. There is beginner, still learning
The
matchmaking.
bell curve looks like this, and then tush.
Yep.
That is very
and
true.
then there's about 1-5 to 3 matchmaking. That's and that sucks. My experience in skill-based matchmaking has been nothing but straight garbage. I have never had fun in Crucible since they put the skill-based matchmaking in because I'm not good enough. Because I'm not good at it. It has nothing to do with like me not wanting to play Crucible. I have about a 60-40 split in Destiny of my time. My time is spent in the Crucible.
Yeah.
And I am not having fun because I am not good enough to have fun in the pool that I am forced to be in by the nature of the player population size and skill-based matchmaking combined.
See, this is where if you are above average, I am a scotch above average. So I am below you, but I'm probably like, if there's a 1.0 KD, I'm probably like 1.01. And you're probably 1.51. So we're in the realms there. For me, I don't need to face the true vanguards, the cool guys, the fallouts. They're at that 3.0 level. I don't need to see them. But I also don't need to see the 0.1s, the bottom of the bell curve. I feel like when Bungie did the skill-based matchmaking, and especially for like quick play, I don't know how their dials work. Not a clue. But I feel like they mentioned at one point the scale of player skill, which the number will never see. God knows that would break the system. But it's like negative 1,000 to 1,000. And they said the middle of the bell curve is about 100. Like, so slightly off center to the right. If for some reason you at 1.5 have like fallen, like you're on the down slope of the bell curve, and for whatever reason it puts you in this fairly small player pool of like, they're trying to, I swear, keep the skill ranges too small. Like, to me, if the top of the, like for population, again, population issues being a thing, I feel like somebody at the elite, like not even you, like the 3.0s, for example, they should have, especially in something like quick play, comp, bring that stuff close. But quick play, it could be like 1,000 to negative 200 to give them like most of that bell curve. You avoid like the bottom, negative 200 to negative 1,000, the struggle bus on the bottom side. And then the elites on the top side don't see each other. If you're in the middle of the bell curve, it should be pretty wide. There's tons of people in that area. And I think that's where dynamic skill matchmaking they mentioned needs to go. But I mean, if you're struggling in quick play to have fun, that shouldn't happen. So, I mean, why does it have to be so tight in quick play? I know you want like good matches, but I mean, they also want connection to be a thing. If you have 2,000 and yours is like, I don't know, 700 to negative 300, that should give you plenty of people to play with. And if not, then there's a whole different problem in the game. But like, I feel like if they just widen some of those spectrums, it would help. Again, I don't know how the dials work, but I feel like what they tried to do with skill-based matching and like quick play, make them wider. I mean, you could even do like 1,500 on either end to just avoid the outliers on both sides, and you'd probably be okay. But that's my thing with like, for the average player with a good population, skill-based matchmaking should be fun, as you said. But when you start getting weird populations, people lagging, and you're trying to tighten it down too much, especially in something like quick play, just outlier protection. That's kind of all I think that needs to be in something like that.
Well, the irony is that I have some good friends that operate on a below average level. We'll not say that they're at the very entry level, but we'll say they're around 0.8, 0.7, 0.8. Okay, and the feedback I'm hearing from them is this is the best year of Crucible they've ever had. They're having fun, and the matches are tight, and they're able to use whatever they want for a kit, and it's the best time they've ever had. And I just have to question: is that truly the majority, and is that what's driving this decision-making process forward with Bungie? And are they seeing that data going, you know what, like, don't like if I exist in the top 10%, which I would imagine that somewhere above average to elite is probably at this point
top 15,
the top
10,
10%,
somewhere in there,
top 15, 10. If that means that they are putting the preference and time of the 85 ahead of me, like, I mean, whatever, dude. Data talks. Like, I can't really nothing I can do about that. But at the same time, some of your most vocal evangelists that are bringing in these players to exist in that 0.8 pool are the ones in this top 10% not having a very good time.
Yeah,
and I just wondered, like, where do you draw the line of like we need to keep the veterans, the whales, the dedicated diehards playing, as opposed to trying to get Timmy Tryhard to come up from the bottom and stay in Destiny instead of going back to Apex or Fortnite or any of this other stuff. So I don't know. I don't have the answer, but
yeah, that's just where I'd love to see is like, I would love to know what year, like negative 1,000, where you land and how wide of a skill bracket they typically look for you. And I would be really, I would just love to know that number.
I feel like I'm right on the other side.
So like you're on the downslope.
So I feel like yes, I feel like I'm so like if I exist kind of here, it means that that let's give it a very, very basic split, right? Let's say it's an 80-20 split. There's 80% that play in this pool, and there's 20% that play in this pool, and I'm right at 80.
Yeah.
Right. I'm like I really technically could be in the other one.
Yeah. 80.001.
Right. 001. And so I'm going up against these guys that are just, I mean, they're unbelievable. And it's a credit to them. They're extremely skilled, and I get it absolutely handed to me. And I will never disparage somebody for that. I think that, if you've put the time in, I tell my chat sometimes to my own detriment that if I had a genie, the one wish I would ask for is to be able to do trials carries every weekend. That's all I would want, is just to be a 3.0.
You might want to think a little more outside of the box for a genie wish. I'm just saying.
I'm a simple man. But no, but I think that but I'm not there. And I would also like to be able to say on any given quick play Sunday to grab 5 people randomly, friends, viewers, whatever it is, go in and not have to have them who admittedly play like a 0.6 and are just trying to have some fun to get grouped in with my 80.0001 and get absolutely flattened. It's just not a good time.
No. Yeah. And that's where, again, like if you have a group like that, match them with just a weird spectrum on the other side. Like have an 80, have a 20, have a 0, negative 20, negative 80, like build the spectrum out. And it's, again, I don't know what the player population's like in the matchmaking and what they look for. But as you said, it seems too tight.
Yep.
And again, if like you have 180 over here and your other friends are in the point, in the decimal point area, maybe tip the matchmaking that way and let you have a fun game as opposed to make them have a crappy game. Because again, if they're leaning into that more bigger part of the bell curve, that's the one that they're looking into. But again, I'm always curious to ask about skill-based matchmaking because it tends to bring up the discussion. But if you can actually have a nuanced discussion about skill-based matchmaking as opposed to the Twitter fire that happens every time, then
What a
yeah, this
disaster.
is usually like it's a normal. It's like yeah, it's like hey, it sucks to be an elite person because I either get smacked in the head by people who are 4 times better than me. I'm like, why am I here? Versus the other people like, yay, party, woohoo, and you're like, can we have some middle ground, please? Like somewhere in between those two is all we're asking for. So,
yeah.
Joe, did you read the TWAP?
I did.
So outside of your champion weapons are going to be, by the way, sidearms, anti-barrier, pulse rifles, anti-barrier, bows, overload, unstoppable, scouts, automatics, overload. They really, really like those automatic overloads.
So annoying.
SMGs and autos again.
Yep. Again. And anti-barrier pulse. Again.
Now, remember, if
man.
there's any activity that has those champion weapons, those are also overcharged. So keep that in mind. You get that 25.
No glaive, huh? Or didn't they say?
It's coming later. It's coming later.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, column 2 gets interesting. And Joe, I want your thoughts on these first. So we've got authorized mods. These are almost all the same. The armor energy cost of armor mods affecting solar weapons, strand weapons. These are all different mods. Void weapons affecting your grenades are all significantly discounted. So the armor energy cost of a certain like weapon damage type or grenades are severely discounted. And then the multi-siphon mod grants access to armor mods in your helmet that combine the effects. Strand siphon, solar siphon, and void siphon are combined into one. Okay. So,
Ooh, 6 to noon.
thank you for that image, Joe. How you doing while I recover from that traumatic thought?
Yeah. This kind of goes back to what I was talking about with I feel like the game is going to be fairly easy when we get into Lightfall because you got to remember these aren't artifact mods. These are artifact perks.
Yep.
We don't need to equip any of this. This just gets applied to our account. So it's not like we're taking up a mod slot in order to discount other mods. No. They are just discounted from the rip. So ashes to assets, throw 3 grenades, get your super back. Oh, well, that's discounted. Probably be 1 or 2 energy. Grenade kickstart, that's discounted. Anything that's going to give you bonus.
There's a grenade build this season. It's going to be nuts.
Dude, the grenades are going to be crazy. And they're already crazy.
Grenade build is called grapple. I mean, honestly, really? Like, you want to talk about what the... I don't know how that's going to work with if there's a proper cooldown with the grapple. I imagine there might be in some capacity. They don't want us just suspending in midair perpetually through every encounter we have to fight. But if kickstarts and things are going to affect how the grapple works, and there's a lot of grenade focus, there could be some pretty serious advantages.
Yeah, I think there is going to be a cooldown because they said the little strand thread ball. I think it's called a tangle or something, right?
Tangle,
they said that if you grapple a tangle, then you get your grapple back instantly. Either that's a hunter exclusive thing or it's just across the board. Yeah. So there is definitely going to be some kind of cooldown. But yeah, when you take into account, if you were to count a grapple as a grenade, it's taking your grenade slot. So I feel like that's valid to assume so. Yeah, everybody's going to be Spider-Man. Everybody's going to be throwing nukes left and right. Everybody's going to be throwing vortexes, giving them devour, weakening enemies, all sorts of crazy stuff. These artifact mods are going to be, or artifact perks are going to be crazy. This is probably going to be the best season we've ever had, just for the simple fact that these are just bonuses that we're getting just intrinsically. We don't need to equip them. There is no trade-off. It is only buffs. It is only beneficial to us. No trade-off whatsoever. We're going to be insanely powerful in Lightfall. And after reading column 5, which we'll get to, there's some stuff that's 100% going to impact who is going to kill a boss last second and who isn't going to kill a boss last second.
Oh, yeah, there's some raid perks coming
there's
in
some
here.
Crazy stuff in here.
Yeah. But yeah, the passive thing I think is nice because 1, it frees up loadouts, so I'll never have to put a 7 sniper energy champion weapon in my arms ever again, or what was it, a grenade launcher this season.
It just eats up your entire build.
The fact that I don't have to even think about that crap ever again, and I can my arms are useful again. Before I've just been okay, so. Yeah, the grenade builds I think are going to be crazy, but all of those, and then the siphon is just everybody doing multi-siphon mod? Cool. All right, that's an easy gimme.
Boom.
Column 3. First time you break a combatant shield, you create an orb of power.
Cool.
Defiant Armory greatly improves the benefits provided by Noble Deeds, Nanotech Tracer Rockets, which I think those are going to be like new origin traits, because then you have Tech's Balance Stock and Ambush.
Okay.
So that's like the current season and last season. Those are you got Destroying a Tangle with a Strand Weapon suspends targets damaged by the explosion.
Hey, can I just ask your guys' opinion on something?
Yep.
We've had some pretty impressive traits over the year. And every season they've kind of brought back the ability to continue to use the previous season's traits. I think that's cool. But like Psycho Hack and Land Tank were some of the best intrinsic traits we've ever had. And I would love the opportunity to improve those again.
Yeah. Land Tank goes crazy.
Like, Land Tank is nice.
Man.
You use that like waveframe GL and just get in everything's face and then get damage resistance at the same time. Yeah, it's really good.
Some personality.
Yeah, man. Like I don't know. There was a lot to like in some of those intrinsics.
Yeah.
I mean, Extrovert and the other one from Opulent or from a Haunted were not super fantastic, but I don't know.
You always got to keep up with the new apparently.
That new. I'm not very impressed with the text trait, by the way.
No. It's fine.
Yeah. Ambush
exists,
is good.
I mean,
Yeah, Ambush is not bad. So we've got.
I'm surprised they brought back the text one and not the Bray one, since that raid is still going to be relevant and people are still hunting those craftables. Like I'm surprised
so many
we
people
can't.
probably did not engage with that though. Remember,
I
casual
guess, yeah.
picture the 75% who did.
True. Yeah.
Destroying a Tangle with a Strand Weapon suspends targets damaged by the explosion. That's kind of a. I feel like that's like an aspect or something for somebody, but it's just going to be a trait. Collecting a Fire Sprite gives you an armor charge, so if you lean into solar, got one of those. Picking up an Orb of Power grants your Void Weapon volatile rounds.
Volatile Flow, welcome back.
Flow returns.
Volatile Flow is back, so
which is going to be even crazier, by the way, because with Bungie, the way they're doing build crafting and everything revolves around orbs, it's practically just it's volatile rounds all the time. You know,
it's going to be a lot.
That's going to be insane.
Mind your
going to be
Falcons
crazy.
build, thanks you.
Yeah.
Column 4. So we're out this far now. Bricks from Beyond. Can I say before I even get into this, especially doing some stuff solo, the inconsistency of heavy ammo still just bugs the hell out of me sometimes.
Ugh.
So
double special, baby. Run double special. It fixes that.
Should not be required again. That is not the root of the issue.
Run a trace rifle and a GL and eager sword. Easy. Done.
All right, Jimmy, loading screens. Come on now. Anyway, Bricks from Beyond. This leans into your Void build, by the way. And this is going to be in every raid team, I'm sure. Defeating a powerful combatant with a Void weapon has a chance to generate heavy ammo for you and your teammates. That's on every raid team. I guarantee you.
At least 2.
No ammo problems.
Yeah, be like, all right, you over on this side of the room, you on this side of the room. You got them? Okay, cool. Shoot all the stuff.
So real quick then, without knowing anything of the new weapons, it doesn't say Void subclass, it says Void weapons. So you could run it on any subclass.
Yep.
So what would be like your top 2 or 3 Void weapons that you think you would want your team to have on raid day 1?
I think Unforgiven's pretty good. You can run a demo, grenades. If fusion nades don't get nerfed, then you're just getting constant like mini nukes, especially if you're a warlock. And if you're running a Void build, you can constantly proc get things like Devour if you're on warlock, stuff like that. I think Unforgiven would be a pretty good one. This would be a good time to point out that we haven't gotten a new Void auto rifle. And like a really the only good Void ones, Gnawing Hunger and Reckless Oracle. Like where are the Void auto rifles at? So hopefully we get one in Lightfall. I used Gnawing Hunger for day 1 Val. That went hard. I don't know. Maybe Doom of Chelchis. There you go. If you're in like a long, if you're in like a big room, kind of like with the Vogue, boss room or something like that, you got long sight lines. Chelchis. Okay. That'd be good.
What
All
are
what about you, Ebontis? Tell me your favorite Voids.
This is the Void bow. I love bows.
Under your skin.
Monarch?
Under your skin.
Monarch.
And Monarch, both.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, Monarch actually probably even more so, depending on what you're doing, would be fun, but takes an exotic slot. Kind of a wild card, quite literally 2-tailed or 3-tailed fox, whatever this catalyst is going to do. That could be crazy. I don't know if that's going to be do you guys think it's a 3rd rocket or it just like jolts or blinds? What do you think the arc effect is going to be? Because they said it completes the trifecta.
I think it's if 2 rockets hit the same target, there's a combination blinding explosion.
No.
I think it'll be a jolt because what was was it Darcy? Is Darcy Arc?
Yeah, Darcy's now Arc.
Okay,
Yeah,
so they made
Darcy's
Darcy
nutty.
recently where if you get repeat precision hits, it'll jolt the target and then it'll just start ticking. So I think we might get jolt, but I mean I think blinding is also just as much possible.
Do you
I
think
think
it's a
it'll probably
chance we
be
get a
Jolt,
third
though.
rocket?
I don't know. That's kind of like breaching into like the lore breaking territory, like Fourth Horseman. Like all of a sudden, Fourth Horseman has
Like-
a 5th barrel you don't see. Like you know. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know.
Okay, fair enough. If the
Yeah.
gun has 2 barrels, then that's probably fine. I wonder. It's like, okay, this is a solar rocket. This is a void rocket. Is like blue. Is like orange and purple make blue. I don't know how that works on the color pattern. Just a weird one. Anyway, so yeah, void weapons for all the raid teams will be set there. And
Collective obligation, baby.
ooh, yep, collective obligation will be there with volatile rounds, volatile
With
flow,
weakening, with suppression,
Yeah,
with
with weaken.
yeah. See, void builds, man, and then over
It's
shields.
so good. It's so good. They're making it better. It's crazy.
Yeah.
I misread this the first time, so I will explain why I was much more excited in the first place.
oh,
I thought this said fusion grenades because
Oh.
I was thinking some warlocks were going to have a hell of a time because it says firebolt grenades add more scorch stacks. Damaging a combatant with a firebolt grenade spawns a fire sprite. And then there's one in column 5. When you have firebolt grenades equipped, gain a second grenade charge. I thought that was fusion for a second, and they just like broke
But-
warlocks, and I was like, wait a minute. Oh, it made more sense.
I don't know.
Tell
hear
us
me
what
out,
Bungie thinks
though,
is the
like-
weakest grenade in the game without telling us what we
Exactly,
think Bungie thinks is
right?
the weakest grenade. in the
Dude.
game.
Oh, nobody uses this grenade. Let's make please use it, guys. Please use this.
I
mod.
mean, you get more nades, you get more scorch stacks, which means more ignitions. Every single time you deal damage, you get an orb of power. Like I'm saying, bro, there's something brewing here. You know, there's a little bit of cookage that could possibly come from this.
DemonJoe
At least
is
from
gonna
like maybe
be
an
a
ad
demon
clear perspective.
with firebolt.
I'm excited to dive into this new stuff, man. This whole
There's-
like
there's-
build crafting. I'm
Yeah,
excited.
There's going to be a lot, like the infinite supply of all this stuff. So Origin Hones, weapons with noble deeds, nanotrace rockets, text balance, and ambush traits are always overcharged when the modifier is active. So if you go into anything with overcharge abilities, those weapons are now just overcharged. So-
Retrofit go bird, dude.
Oh, is
Yeah,
retrofit a text
retrofit.
balance?
No,
It's
it's
got
ambush.
ambush.
Oh.
It's got ambush.
Yeah, retrofit's going to
And
be
it's
solid.
void.
And it's void.
The return of the king.
Retrofit.
Oh my
Well, do you guys think the
dude.
nanotrace rockets is kind of like Quicksilver? Do you think that's
I
what
think so.
those? Okay.
Yeah.
it seems that way.
Yeah.
Then we've got Allied Unraveling. Rapid final blows with a strand weapon grants your weapon unraveling rounds with a longer duration near allies. So if you stick together.
Is unraveling literally just jolt, but like green?
Unraveling is that the one that suspends or damages the ones around them? Like if you
It's
kill
the one that it erases from existence, but it really doesn't. It just like it reduces the damage they output or something. Like
Oh yeah, it kind of does.
it's like psycho hack, but in a perk.
Yeah.
I don't know.
something like that. I read it once and I kind of knew it off the top of my head. I'm gonna say it wrong.
Here,
so I don't
you
want
go.
to.
Here you go. I got the definition.
Okay.
Attacking an unraveled enemy will cause threads to burst out of the target and attack other nearby targets. Once hit,
Oh.
that target will also become unraveled.
Okay. It's better
So-
volt shot.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
kind of feels more like an explosion, the solar one. Why am I blanking? See, this is why you don't
Incandescent.
host a podcast yet, incandescent. Because you can't think of the words. When you're listening to a podcast, it's always you're like, oh, how do you not know that thing that I totally know?
Yeah.
When you're hosting them, when you're on the podcast live, your mind is like, I'm going to be a moron, so everybody makes fun of you
Dude,
off
as-
air.
That's so true, dude.
Yeah.
All right, column 5. Now, do you guys think we're going to be able to pick 2 of these or 1?
I think 2. That would be just going back to the previous system.
Yeah.
Mm.
All right, so we've got Stranded Reach. Destroying a tangle with a strand weapon creates a larger and more damaging explosion. Rain of Firebolts. That's the firebolt grenade. You get a second one. Void Weapon Channeling. Again, void weapons. Just feel like it's all the void weapons.
Just use void this season. What's strand?
Well, here, listen to this. You gain a temporary bonus to void weapon damage after you defeat a target with a void weapon while at least one of your void abilities is charged.
What the fluff, dude?
the
That's not even
damage,
the best part.
The damage bonus increases based on the number of void charged abilities you have.
So if you're running like a demo SMG, you just keep getting your ability back. So you can throw a nade. You don't got to worry about it. You'll get it back soon enough, anyways.
Yeah. So your
And then you just keep getting better
void
weapon
damage bonus is probably going to make Strand look really questionable.
Dude, hunters are about to be just
Yeah, I think
top of the heap,
yeah,
baby.
So day one raid race, the 600 team won. That's what happened. Now, this is also an interesting one. Prismatic transfer. When you cast your super, each member of your fire team with a subclass damage type different than yours gains a bonus to weapon damage.
Oh, that's tight.
So like the guy with Gallahorn, pops a well, and then my 5 hothead buddies get bonus weapon damage for whatever boss we're about to delete off the face of the
So
planet.
you're
Your
the
5
one...
hothead void hunter buddies.
Exactly. I was going to say the 5 void hunter buddies and the one well guy. You put the well down.
Like, dude, that is going to be a staple.
Yeah. So that
I
feels like
honestly think we see a repeat of. Honestly, I wouldn't be surprised at all if you see competitive raid teams, 1 solar warlock, 5 void hunters with your falcons and retrofit. The warlock pops well with divinity, and you go to town. It is like,
yeah, it sounds like Void 4.0 coming in hot here, but we'll see.
dude.
For real, dude. Like they come out with Strand, and they're like, all right, we want you guys to use this. But check out all this Void shit,
Yeah,
bro.
Void's,
like,
Void's looking real nice.
remember
right now.
how strong it was when it launched? Check this out.
The final one is Medieval Champion. For those of you who like to play around with crazy stuff, glaives you wield fire a powerful explosive payload that stuns unshielded combatants. So glaives will manage unstoppables. And remember, glaives now, when champions, like when overcharging is involved, glaives now are overcharged. So they get a 25% bonus. Swords are overload weapons. And remember, now swords can be overcharged. So that would be a 25% bonus on a sword. Prophecy first boss is about to get worked. Actually, there's no overcharge in there, so not really, but just a joke, but yeah. Other than that, Legend campaign, they said the health scaling for fire team size is going to be a little bit better because 3, I think I heard, was stupid. I did everything solo, but I heard 3 was just
harder
awful.
than solo.
Yeah.
It
3 was
harder
terrible.
Than solo.
Yeah. So that's,
Honestly, it was more the res tokens than the difficulty.
Yeah, like the timer and
I think
stuff.
the res tokens are going to be there. But they said the scaling is going to be better. And they also said the damage required to stagger combatants is reduced during the Lightfall campaign.
That's cool. I like that.
So I think the campaign, I think they were like, all right, we tried to make it a little too much. So they seem to have kind of tuned everything down. We have 24 hours of downtime. So that's for all of that stuff. We've got the free Throne World Tour. So yeah, go play your Witch Queen campaign in 3 days if you want to know life at this weekend. You have 3 days. Preloading. You'll probably be able to preload with Lightfall during the 24 hours. So just make sure your console's on and doing its thing. Claim all your rewards and engrams and everything. Use just no engrams at no vendors and Lightfall and Umbral. Just use it all. And Legacy Collection update. This is the one I mentioned that kind of irked me before. Legacy Collection, which currently was the 4-second pack Shadowkeep and Beyond Light, will be retired. On February 28th, the Legacy Collection will include Shadowkeep, Beyond Light, and Witch Queen. The Forsaken pack will still be available for its own separate content pack. I'm like, why? That should be free.
It's odd.
That one at a minimum, make it free. Come on.
That's I would be
Discord
about
pooped itself again.
Yeah, it's fine.
Yeah,
I would guess here. My assumption on that is that that's
An Activision thing.
It's an Activision thing. Yeah. That's totally an Activision thing. Yep. They bought their independence, not the rights to every piece of content they made under Activision.
Well, I think that's why they've put everything in the content vault that they can't relate it to Activision. I feel like we talked about that on the podcast before too, but yeah, that's it. So Void is going to be lit.
Void,
it's a
baby.
thing. Yep, it's
Give
a
it to me.
subclass.
Yep.
Things are going to be more difficult until you equip Void. And then everything gets more easier.
Yeah.
And you honestly probably shouldn't worry too much. Honestly, I think like go in the game, have fun, mess around with the loadouts. But if you lean into builds, if you look up like one guide video for a build, you're probably going to be fine. That's my hunch.
Yeah, on youtube.com/Ebontis, all your build needs right there.
Hey, youtube.com/DemonJoe.
Who?
Who?
Never heard of that guy.
Teej, you have YouTube or mostly stream? I always forget.
It's mostly stream.
Okay.
I would say that if there's a reason to visit my YouTube, it's because last year, before I discovered that long form YouTube is incredibly time consuming and very difficult, I started a series about Destiny fashion. And if you're interested in learning a little bit about how to dress your Guardian nicer than you currently are, there's a fantastic video on my YouTube for that.
Well, from earlier in the podcast, apparently that's a series I should go watch.
I'm telling you, Teej, now that like YouTube Shorts are monetizable, just make a bunch of episodes as shorts, upload them.
I mean, I'm putting my
community is
TikToks up there
huge.
on shorts. My issue with shorts is that and we're streaming live on YouTube, so I won't be too critical.
You get peanuts on the dollar.
Well, it's also a very archaic version of what every other platform is using for their short form content. So and you know, TikTok is king. Instagram is moving closer to TikTok every day. You know, Twitter Blue is letting me upload longer videos. You know, like there's just, you know, YouTube locking me in at 60 seconds. You just losing my business, bro. Like you just I don't make 60-second videos anymore. Like it just it's not the way.
Yeah.
Well, we have 4 days by the time most people are going to hear this podcast or less. Last thing, what do you? We took so long going through everything. I know we had mentioned some other topics, but the show's already pretty long, so I wanted to kind of at least get one Destiny wish from each of you that you want.
Oh man, you're gonna make me pick one.
Okay, if you got like a couple you can knock out quick, go for it.
I can rattle a few off.
Yeah,
quickly.
there you go. Go.
Dreamless, right? This is stuff that's not happening, by the way. It's not even
stuff
likely
we don't
to happen.
know. Stuff that is not announced.
I'll hit you with a couple easy ones. Okay. I love the idea of Destiny's shader palettes. Okay, I think it's a really easy way for us to organize without giving us too much customization with something like Anthem or Warframe. The way they handle their cosmetic coloring of stuff is just too in depth, too much freedom. But since every quadrant of a shader is programmed to highlight a certain piece of gear in a certain way, let me rotate that palette to change what colors apply to what parts of the gear in place on the customization screen.
That'd be interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. A lot of people are like, let me just take the quadrants and make them whatever I want. No. Just let me take that 4 square thing. And okay, I don't want the gold on the cloak. Let me rotate it. Okay, now the white's on the cloak, the gold's on the armor. That's what I wanted.
Yeah.
That's one. Another one. Ghost projections, completely useless cosmetic in the game. They mean nothing. They're worthless time. Okay.
They don't even show up in like the regular inspect screen. You have to inspect the ghost to even see it too. Yeah.
So let me toggle my ghost over my shoulder in the tower, the way that it pops out when it's a flashlight, with the projection over it in the tower on my shoulder, like my little pet minion, just like in every other MMO that's ever existed.
That's cool.
So people can see it while I'm walking around the tower.
Okay. There you go.
The Guardian Games cloak and the 30th anniversary dungeon cloak. Both, when you use a helmet that does not apply a hood, put the hood down. It doesn't disappear. It doesn't disconnect entirely. It simply lowers it as though it's been pulled down and it's still sitting there on your back. Why is this not an option? A, to be toggled on every cloak. I understand that modeling is a thing and it would take time to do that, but I shouldn't have to wear a cat face or a pair of sunglasses in order to get the hood down. Okay? That should just be a toggle. Just like helmets a toggle, just like all these things are toggle. And the last one I'll mention now, so we can get through some other stuff, is please allow me to use my to not craft, but customize the perks on my Sparrow. There are wonderful perks on Sparrows, like some of them reload your guns for you, some of them have faster cooldown time, some of them do X, Y, and Z thing. I want to be able to just choose which of those perks go on my 3 things for my Sparrow, and then off to the races with my Sparrow perks. It's such a irrelevant part of the game that it is only applicable really on patrol, like in the beginning of some strikes, that it doesn't matter about like balance and things. It's not really relevant to that. So there you go. That's my short list. There's way more, but
no, that's
last one. Give me a ghost shell mod that increases how fast weapons level. That's all. You can make it cost 8 energy. I don't care how much it costs. I will pay
instead of season pass XP. It goes.
Just let me apply a ghost mod.
Yeah.
All crafted weapons level 25% faster.
Sold.
Done.
That's speaking of that as well, please, when it comes to leveling specials and heavies, change the amount of kills it takes to level those things up, because I don't want to get 2,000 kills with a sniper rifle to see level 20 on that thing.
Yes.
So just
Power weapons are actually pretty reasonable. But
power is
special weapons
reasonable,
are
but special suck.
abysmal.
Yeah, specials
Special
are
suck.
awful.
Big time. Yep.
Joe, you got any?
I mean, we spoke about it a little bit on the show. So just the one like throwaway one would be like a toggle to always be able to solo queue into something. We were talking about with strikes earlier. Like as a YouTuber, I literally need to change my network settings so that no one can connect to me, so that I can go into a strike and shoot things. We are like 8 years into this franchise. Let me just load into the strike alone, please. I shouldn't need to pick a difficulty to do it. That'd be huge quality of life change. But the other thing, and something that a lot of people have been asking for like the entire course of the franchise, is a horde mode. I just want endless enemies, more rewards the longer I survive. I want something like that. Prison of Elders was kind of close, but it had an end. I just want to sit there, gun at enemies. They get stronger. And that's what I want. I want a horde mode. I don't know how complicated it would be to implement. I don't know how they would do it, what they would do. I just want an endless shooter. Halo had Firefight. I enjoyed Firefight a lot in Halo. I want something like that. Bam.
Destiny does have Firefright. I don't.
Yeah, well, Firefight is never in my hands. I just want Firefight.
Are you a fan of that auto rifle, sir?
I love it. I think it sounds great. I think it performs great. I crafted mine up to enhance. I got thousands of kills on it.
Nice.
Yeah.
You're crazy.
I love it. I think it's
I
fantastic.
love the way it looks. I just don't like the archetype.
It sounds like a friggin' AC-130 that you literally hold in your hands. Yeah.
Yeah, the design team killed it on that gun. It looks sick.
Yeah. But if you haven't yet, give it a shot with 4th times Focus Fury. You won't regret it. It's a champion melter.
Okay, I can see that. Yeah, I've probably said so many of them over the course already. I probably would say one of the bigger ones right now would be Legend matchmaking. We had that discussion, so that's a thing. Ghost projections. I totally forgot that those are even a thing. So yeah, make those not be completely useless. I'm totally fine with that.
Yeah.
I'm sorry for the artist who has to sit there and make all those because nobody's spinning like the.
What about clan staffs, bro? What about the little staff on your clan banner? You know what I'm talking about?
I've been
Who's
using
making
the
those?
Drifter one since it's been.
Yeah, you find a good one.
Who are
and you
they
just leave
making design that?
Yep.
Somebody's got to do it every 3
season.
months. Yeah.
Their work goes underappreciated every season.
Yeah. I went back and looked at all those, and I was like, I haven't seen like 8 of these things. It had been so long.
Ebontis. Okay, so say that one of the wish lists is like whenever you put a rally barricade, like a rally banner, it's your clan banner instead. Like the flag and the staff.
I love that so much.
There you go. We
There
fixed
you
the
go.
problem.
Yep.
I mean, Ebontis said that. He fixed the problem. That would be so gas.
So I totally had this great idea about clan staffs.
Oh, tell me about it. I need to hear it. Please tell the world.
I think the witness may have told me it though, so I'm not sure we should trust it. No, the final one, because I want to kind of throw this back. All of the stuff that we have said for the past 6 weeks, we have more info going into Lightfall than we've had about anything. But the one thing we have heard absolutely zero things about. Teej, can I get a voice? No. Can I get a voice intro? Can I get a voice intro for this topic?
You sure can, brother.
Gambit.
Why are we not talking about Gambit?
2 state of development blogs in a row with no Gambit. 2 years worth state of development blogs. You go to the page, you press F3, you type in Gambit, the keyword, try to search it, nothing pops up. That's crazy.
Yeah, Control F Gambit,
by the
0.
way, by definition, it is a, say it with me, core activity.
Activity, yeah.
We love Gambit. Core activity.
All right, you ready? Here's like why
it doesn't make them any money. I can tell you straight up.
It doesn't make them any money. You know what would make them money? The friggin' ornaments that they literally removed from the game for everyone's They are the sexiest ornaments that have ever been released for any weapons ever. And all people ask for is like, please, I'll give you money for them. Can I please buy them for my gnawing hunger that I got in Season of the Arrivals? And Bungie's like, no. Like it's free money. I'm gonna be honest though. The biggest mistake they made with Gambit was removing Gambit Prime. It was literally the ultimate version of the mode. The armor with the rolls, like so good, like just like it was dynamic. It was tactical. You organized teams to do it. It was fun. Like I don't understand. I'm just Reckoning, take it or leave it, whatever. It was a grind. I get it. It was literally the seasonal activity for that season. But like, just like what we have the Vanguard playlist, Nightfalls. We have Crucible comp trials. We have Gambit, and
that's it.
Gambit. Like, what are we doing?
It is literally it's the meme of the pool, and it is definitely the skeleton in that pool because. Well, and here's the thing. Here's the funny thing about it. That if they're like, hey, we're going to develop 2 brand new maps for Gambit, the entire Crucible population's head just exploded. Because there is no way you develop maps for Gambit before you get a new map for Crucible. And we're getting 1 new map in the year of Lightfall for Crucible.
Dude, you don't even need to develop new maps for Crucible for Gambit. Just give us the friggin' Tangled Shore and Dreaming City maps back.
Yeah,
it's really not that hard, dude.
That's just crazy. Take
the
it away.
Dreaming City
content.
Gambit map is tight.
Yeah, I liked it.
And Dreaming City's still location of the game. Titan.
Exactly.
What the heck is your map still doing in there? Like
exactly right.
And you got Mars, right? Isn't that
Mars is
one
there
Mars
too.
map
Mars
just like
is there?
snowy? Yeah. Like you took a mode that starved with content. It just took more content away without putting anything back into.
Here's your allocation of food. Well, now you get less of it.
Yeah,
man. Like, ugh.
I honestly, I know it's like, I watched I think Tassie had an article about like Gambit not being there and talked about basically it's just not a place they can add value to the playlist, but they don't add like dungeon keys or other things where they have a financial benefit from doing it. But at some point, if you're going to call that a featured playlist, as Joe said, you can't ignore it for 2 years. They ignored Crucible for 3, so I guess it's just.
Yeah.
It's like it's got to wait its turn. But by the time it's its turn, we're going to leave PS4 and Xbox One behind. That's, I think, by the time it's going to be... It's like it's a cool idea, but it's like they could do like Gambit Labs, where again, it's like you don't ever invade. It's just like a boss rush or something. And it's just, PvE who's going to... But there's ways they could mess with it and they never touch it is all. Somebody could be in a corner like brainstorming Gambit Labs and put some random cosmetics in there and you got some people playing it.
I want to keep the format of Gambit largely the same, but for when you want to invade, you got to bring 15 motes to the portal and dunk them.
Ooh, I actually like that.
Yeah, so
because it's a cost to invade.
Yeah,
so you got to make
one of the better ideas.
You'd still only get one at 40 and 80. Like I think that's the 2. The limit of 2 is still good, but then it's like, okay, our portal's ready. I've got it. I'm the invader. I got to get 15 motes so I can pay the price to go over.
Yeah, or you could make the decision like, okay, would these motes be better paid if I put it into our bank, or do I risk taking motes away from them?
So how do you handle invasions then during Tie Guy Travis in chat? What's up, man? Shout out to our co-host who is at least in chat. Thank you very much. He's like, "What's up? Who watches this stuff?" Shout out to Travis.
When Teej is on, not Travis. He's about to leave. He said he came on. He saw it was me, and he's
like,
go.
No. I was going to say, when you get to the boss phase, how do you handle invasions then?
To me, I think boss phase invasions should be based on performance during the initial invade. You get one when your opponents summon the primeval, and you go over, and then they base the number of kills you get is how frequently you can go back for the next one. And if you go over and suck, you have to wait the longest time before you get to go back again.
They're just, the winners win more now.
Well,
so toxic. Elitist Teej over here.
I'm an invader in case anybody didn't know that.
What? I would never have guessed.
No, I guess.
You got that red sash right across your chest.
I do. Yeah. Although, you know what? In fairness, I only invade with a sniper rifle. So screw you, everybody who thinks I jump over with eyes or galley or xenophage or any of this garbage. I will hit you in the dome with a proper weapon because I have integrity as an invader and I respect you trying to kill your primeval.
Yeah, I appreciate that. If I go down to a sniper, I'm like, all right, you earned it. It's fine. I'll give you that. Even if I still hate it. But yeah. No, that's just one of those is like, we know Crucible, and this is again where you wonder, like the size of the development team at Bungie, we knew grew drastically. Like they've been hiring remote people just constantly. Positions open, they're doing that stuff pretty frequently. But again, you see the amount of Crucible maps that we're getting. I don't know the effort it takes to make a Crucible map. I honestly couldn't tell you. I don't have a clue. The balancing, the testing, all the stuff that goes into that. But we're getting 2 reprisals, which doesn't mean you have to do no work. but it does mean you have the shape of the map. You may have to do textures, you may have to do lighting, you may have to completely like work on those pieces, but you don't have to like, is this a map? Think it up, balance it, you know, kind of do all the elevation changes. Those are there. We get one map in a year. I, again, don't know how many people are working on it, but it does seem like maybe a few more could be. And this is where you question, is the entire PvP collective mind of Bungie, most of them are working on some other IP? Makes me think that.
Yeah.
Because
it's a likely guess.
Yeah, it does seem that way. The rumored IP shooters and all that stuff. So we'll see in time. But it has been over 2.5 hours. I do not want to keep these gentlemen as long. I did not mean to keep you this long, I'll be honest, but we had some tangents and fun, but I had a blast. I want to thank both of you for joining us. I want to thank chat for being here tonight. You guys have been awesome. Tons of you guys here chatting with us this evening. Chat has been hilarious. Travis coming in for the late night cameo. Appreciate that. After hours, Travis. But both of you guys, thank you. This has been an absolute blast, and I think got me maybe even a little more hyped for Void Weapons than I thought I would be. I wasn't entirely sure what my build was going to be, but I'm pretty sure my Bubble Titan's going to be doing some work.
Yep.
Wait a minute. So you main a Titan?
I main a Titan. Have for
based on how you've been talking, Joe, I'm gonna guess you main a Warlock.
So I mained Warlock when I first started playing.
Okay.
Started maining Titan the past few seasons. After seeing Strand, back to Warlock.
So, back to Warlock. Okay.
Yeah, I have the most experience with Warlock on all classes.
We're a good mix. Yeah.
The trifecta.
Nice, well-rounded.
Yeah.
Well, this is our fire team. Here we are.
Yeah.
We're doing it.
No, it's like I'm gonna punch in a different color. Come Lightfall.
God bless.
I'm gonna punch her, I'm gonna slash her, I'm gonna punch her, I'm gonna punch her, I'm just gonna melee everybody. That's what I do.
Yeah. I'm proud of you.
Yeah. I'm not. Well, as we wrap up, I want to give each of you the floor to tell everybody where to find you, because whether it's audio or video, we'll start with you, Joe. Where can people find your content, your hilarious antics, and anything else about you? Floor is yours. Tell them where you at.
I am the owner of the DemonJoe cinematic universe, so you can find me on youtube.com/DemonJoe.
That was so cool. Oh man.
I don't have a cinematic universe.
Let me cook. Yeah. The cinematic universe, you can find it at youtube.com/DemonJoe. You have your long form, your short form, and your live content on one place.
Wow.
The whole universe. It's practically Disney Plus, but for free. And you can go there anytime you want. That's where you'll find me.
This is so much more impressive than anything I'm going to say.
No, pretty much what you get to do is you get to do your outro in any voices that you can throw into the mix to tell people about your channels.
Oh, geez. All right, Guardians. You can find BigDaddyTeej where all of good content is sold. Twitch, Instagram, Twitter, and even TikTok, like the youths enjoy.
That was good. That was damn good.
That's too good.
For real, come check it out. Instagram and Twitter, BDTeej. I'm on Twitch and TikTok at BigDaddyTeej. YouTube, BigDaddyTeej. I'm kind of all over the place, but the best places to find my styles is going to be Twitch and TikTok. So check them out. I do Destiny impressions over there, do other stuff on TikTok and live streams on TikTok and Twitch nearly every day.
Yeah, Saturday Destinies and other things, right?
Saturday Destiny, baby. Yeah.
I follow my guests.
Man, you're so nice to me.
We try. Nothing but love here around the campfire. That's what we do. For me, it's Ebontis. Twitch, Twitter, YouTube. You know where to find me. I think all of us are probably going to be live playing through the world of Lightfall. So if you're looking for any of us over the course of the next week, type in our names on the internets, on the interwebs, and you can probably find our face and a Destiny screen. Probably not sleeping. That seems pretty reasonable guess at this point. Well, gentlemen, it has been fantastic. At this point, we'll have our ridiculous inside joke about holding these two symbols up for some weird reason, which I hate my co-host for, but it stuck. But as I wrap this thing up for episode number 238, I think.
Wait, we're not doing a W? It's not
quite a W. I'll explain afterwards. So for this episode, it has been The Last Word.
Podcast.